Chapter 313. Mu Hanyu and Mu Qing nodded, after which the vigorous star power surged out. Frost technique, iceberg crush. Sea-breaking fist, shocking sea fist. Sky-shattering palm, shaking the heavens. The three of them used their best star techniques as soon as they attacked. Faced with such a shocking attack, the granite leopard dared not ignore it even though it had a tough body and strong defensive abilities. The granite leopard roared angrily and gradually formed a massive star power leopard shadow behind it. The star power leopard shadow emitted terrifying waves of star power. That was the special ability of a rank 3 demonic beast. A rank 3 demonic beast was equivalent to a rank 3 star warrior. The biggest characteristic of a rank 3 star warrior was that they could condense star power into a physical form to attack. Condensing star power would increase the power of their attacks by several times. That was the reason why a rank 3 star warrior could become a powerhouse. The gradually solidifying Star Force leopard leaped up and fiercely collided with the 3-star Force cheese. A powerful shockwave spread out in all directions from the collision, sweeping away the withered leaves, branches and stones on the ground. The surrounding ancient trees were also shaken to the ground and snapped. The bodies of Mu Hanyu and the other two trembled as they were sent flying. Granite leopard was also sent flying by the impact of the air wave. The granite leopard turned its body and landed steadily in the air before standing still. Clearly, there was a huge difference between a rank 3-star warrior and a rank 2-star warrior. The three rank 2-star warriors' full-force attacks did not cause any substantial damage to the granite leopard. The granite leopard had just advanced to rank 3. That was also the reason why Qin Feng and his family were so hopeless when facing the rank 3 Tongwen. Tongwen did not even use any star techniques and merely punched Qin Haoyuan, who was at the peak of rank 2, to immobilize him. Looking at the three of them who were in a sorry state, the granite leopard sneered. At rank 3, demonic beasts were not low in spiritual intelligence. The granite leopard rushed towards the three people who had fallen, and its right claw viciously slapped towards Mu Cheng, who had fallen at the front. If this claw were to land on Mu Cheng's body, death would be Mu Cheng's only fate. Mu Cheng's expression changed drastically. He did not hold back at all as he unleashed all of the star energy in his body. He condensed many star energy barriers in front of him. He wanted to delay for a while and wait for Mu Hanyu and Mu Kuan to come to his rescue. But Mu Cheng's thinking was a little naive. The star power barrier he created was useless against the granite leopard. Just as Mu Cheng's face was filled with despair, a ball of black flames shot over. The scorching high temperature caused the granite leopard's body to stop. Just now, it had also witnessed the power of this black flame and was very fearful of this strange flame. Mu Cheng also took advantage of the moment when the granite leopard paused to stomp on the ground. Borrowing the force of the stomp, he retreated a few steps. Mu Hanyu and Mu Kuan also sent out a few palm strikes. The swift and fierce palm shadows enveloped granite leopard's body. Roar! An astonishing roar shattered all the palm imprints. That formless sound wave sent Mu Hanyu and Mu Kuan flying. Mu Hanyu, Mu Kuan, and Mu Cheng gathered together once again. Mu Hanyu looked at the granite leopard solemnly and said, "The granite leopard's body is tough. We can only find its weak point and focus our attacks on it. Only then will we have a chance to kill it. Its neck should be its weak point. Attack its neck." Mu Kuan was more knowledgeable. In the previous exchange, he was able to identify the granite leopard's weak point. As soon as he finished speaking, the three of them attacked at the same time. 3 streams of star energy shot towards the granite leopard's neck. The dense star energy tore through the air and actually brought about a sonic boom. The granite leopard leaped and nimbly dodged 2 of the streams of star energy. In the end, it did not manage to dodge the 3rd stream of star energy and heavily struck its neck. The granite leopard's huge body finally fell from the sky and staggered a few steps back. The granite leopard let out a few more roars as its anger surged out. The loud roars caused the entire mountain forest to tremble. Some of the low-level demonic beasts felt as if their guts were being torn apart and they hurriedly ran away in all directions. The sound waves assaulted everyone's eardrums, causing them to feel waves of pain. Qin Feng, quickly think of a way. Mu Hanqing shook Qin Feng's arm and said, "There's no hurry. Wait." Qin Feng stared at the granite leopard through the gaps in the forest and said, previously, he had taken the opportunity to reach an agreement with Mu Hanqing. If he were to attack, Mu Hanqing would have to agree to 2 of his conditions. First, Mu Hanqing would not tell anyone about the black flames. Second, Mu Hanqing would not allow herself to call him little pervert. Mu Hanqing had no choice but to agree. Behind the granite leopard, an even bigger star energy leopard gradually formed. The dense star energy churned on the surface of the leopard, causing the star energy on the surface of the leopard to become even brighter. The entanglement between the three of them had infuriated the granite leopard. This anger caused the granite leopard to use its full strength, wanting to kill the three of them in one fell swoop. Don't let the leopard's shadow solidify. At this moment, an ice-cold bronze figure rushed out from the forest and shot toward the granite leopard. As the figure brandished his fists, the wind from his fists brought along tyrannical and ferocious star energy and enveloped the demonic beast. After the figure's reminder, Mu Hanyu and the other two also attacked the granite leopard at the same time. Boom! The granite leopard roared with all its might, and the stellar energy leopard shadow clashed with the attacks of the four people in a hurry. The huge shockwave caused mud to fly all over the sky as if it was raining mud. At the point of impact, a large mud hole was blasted open, and the surrounding trees were all broken by the impact. Under the impact of the tremor, the figure was also sent flying. He only stabilized his body after retreating a few dozen meters. Qin Feng! Mu Hanyu exclaimed in surprise. The bronze figure was Qin Feng. When he saw the three of them watching the star energy leopard's shadow solidify, he couldn't help but circulate the profound spirit copper body technique to stop them. This also prevented the granite leopard from using its full strength. Qin Feng didn't reply. Instead, he calmed down his surging blood and qi due to the impact. Even though his strength had increased a lot in the past few days and he had circulated the profound spirit copper body technique, he still couldn't take the impact from before. The granite leopard roared again and again. It had already sunk into a frenzy. Even though it had just advanced to the third rank, the demonic beast's special physique and strong defense allowed it to be comparable to a starry warrior who had reached the peak of the third rank. Qin Feng slightly calmed his mind. The fiery star power rapidly condensed in his hands. The light of the star power flickered in his hands. That light became brighter and brighter. In the end, it actually formed a ball of light like a jumping flame. Raging flame fist, raging flames. An astonishing star energy fluctuation erupted from the ball of light and swept toward the granite leopard with a high temperature. When the star energy fluctuation engulfed the granite leopard, Qin Feng yelled, "Attack!" Mu Hanyu and the other two also understood his intentions and took out their own ultimate techniques. Frost arts, freezing heaven and earth. Sea-breaking fist, splitting wind and waves. Sky-shaking palm, shaking the clear sky. The dazzling star energy tore through the sky and ruthlessly struck the granite leopard that was entangled with Qin Feng. The powerful granite leopard was struck by the combined attack of the four and its huge body was sent flying. It let out a low roar and its body became a little sluggish. Under the combined attack of the four, the third-rank granite leopard couldn't withstand it and finally showed some injuries. The granite leopard let out a few low roars at Qin Feng and the others. After hesitating for a moment, it finally retreated and jumped into the forest. After a few leaps, it disappeared without a trace. A third-rank demonic beast's intelligence wasn't low. It knew that the four people in front of it were difficult to deal with. Moreover, there was an expert who used black flames hiding in the surroundings. After considering for a long time, the granite leopard still chose to retreat. However, Qin Feng and the others didn't have any intention of pursuing it. A third-rank demonic beast was indeed too strong for them. Even though they could repel it, it wasn't that easy to kill it. Sister Hanyu? Mu Hanqing also walked out from the forest at the side. Qin, it's good that you are fine. Mu Hanyu saw that Mu Hanqing was safe and sound and felt relieved. She turned her head and said to Qin Feng, you came at the right time. If it wasn't for you, we would be in danger. Indeed, if Qin Feng didn't arrive in time, the three of them wouldn't be in a good situation. Qin Feng smiled and said, Sister Hanyu is too polite. Qin Feng just happened to pass by. Did you come with Qing'er? Mu Hanyu saw Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing together and asked curiously. Hanqing and I just happened to meet by chance. Qin Feng said indifferently. Cousin Qin Feng, are you following behind us because you are afraid? Mu Qing saw the two women smiling at Qin Feng and his face turned gloomy. His words were filled with ridicule. Mu Qing, don't forget that without Qin Feng's help, can you guys defeat the granite leopard? Mu Hanqing was a little unhappy when she saw Mu Qing mocking Qin Feng, especially when Qin Feng had saved Mu Qing earlier. She didn't say anything because Qin Feng didn't allow her to reveal the secret of the black flame. Can he do it without us? Mu Qing didn't believe that Qin Feng was the one who defeated the granite leopard. Mu Hanyu didn't say anything as she looked at Qin Feng with a puzzled expression. Sister Yu, what's wrong? Mu Kuan asked softly when he saw her expression. I am thinking about the senior who used the black flame to help us. Who is he? Mu Hanyu glanced at Qin Feng. She had guessed that the person was Qin Feng. However, she immediately shook her head and denied her own thoughts. She knew that the flame wasn't an ordinary item. How was it possible for Qin Feng to control it? She wasn't the only one who didn't believe it. No one in the Fire Dragon dynasty would believe it. Qin Feng, did you see anyone else nearby? Mu Hanyu asked softly. Oh, before Han Qing and I came here we saw a streak of gray. Mu Hanqing also noticed that Qin Feng's gaze had lingered on her chest for a while. She recalled the scene at the Sunset Mountain Range and her face couldn't help but turn red. She reprimanded, "Take care of your eyes. Otherwise I will dig them out for you." Qin Feng was a little embarrassed after being reprimanded by Mu Hanqing. "Hanqing, why are you looking for me? Don't tell me you are here to dig out my eyes?" Qin Feng muttered in his heart, I have already seen you naked. Can't I just take a look?" However, he didn't dare to say these words out loud. "Can't I look for you if there's nothing? Are you going to the auction tomorrow?" Mu Hanqing curled her lips and asked. "Auction?" Qin Feng was startled and asked. "It's the auction organized by the Hidden Treasure Pavilion. It's the largest auction in the Tianfeng region in the past 10 years. I heard that Grandmaster Xie will be there personally." Mu Hanqing rolled her eyes at Qin Feng. He didn't even know about such a big event. She really didn't know what he was doing all the time. He was just like an idiot. After Mu Hanqing explained for a long time, Qin Feng finally understood the whole story. Among the Mu clan's 3 inner sect elders, Mu Ziwu was in seclusion in the library all year round and didn't care about worldly affairs. Mu Yuntang and Mu Chuandao were in charge of the Mu clan's daily affairs. Elder Mu Huaiji was in charge of the clan's business and was in charge of the clan's economic affairs. Although the auction tomorrow was organized by the Hidden Treasure Pavilion in name, it was actually organized by the Mu clan. The person in charge of it was Elder Mu Huaiji. Originally, the younger generation of the Mu clan wouldn't be allowed to participate in this kind of auction. However, Mu Hanqing was Mu Huaiji's granddaughter. She was the apple of Mu Huaiji's eye. In addition, she used many trump cards such as acting spoiled. In the end, the old man finally agreed to let her go to the auction tomorrow to broaden her horizons. However, Mu Hanyu went into seclusion the moment she came back. She couldn't accompany Mu Hanqing to participate in the auction tomorrow. After thinking about it, she finally thought of Qin Feng. Hence, she came to look for him. Qin Feng also wanted to go to the auction to broaden his horizons. Hence he agreed. "All right, it's settled then. See you tomorrow." When Mu Hanqing saw Qin Feng nodding his head in agreement, she left excitedly. Boos could be heard from the auction hall. No one expected that the first item to be auctioned in such a large-scale auction would be an iron plate that even the auctioneer didn't know what it was. Great Desolate Era. Everyone listen to me. This iron plate has been appraised by Great Master Xie. It belongs to the ancient era and has existed for a very long time. Although we don't know its exact usage, it should have some extraordinary uses. The starting bid is 150,000 cultivation coins. Each increment must not be less than 10,000 cultivation coins. Yao Li hastily said. Boom. The auction hall immediately burst into an uproar. Sounds of discussion could be heard everywhere. The Hidden Treasure Pavilion must have gone crazy thinking about money. Such an unknown iron plate is actually priced at 150,000 cultivation coins. You can't say it like that. Didn't you hear? This is a treasure that has been appraised by Great Master Xie. Although we don't know what it is used for, we might discover that it is a treasure after we buy it. Forget it. 150,000 cultivation coins can buy 10 stalks of third-grade spiritual herbs. Hanqing, can you bid for this iron plate? I have a use for it. Qin Feng whispered to Mu Hanqing. Qin Feng looked at the iron plate and revealed a covetous expression. However, he couldn't take out 150,000 cultivation coins. How could he bid for it? Hence, he could only ask Mu Hanqing for help. What do you want this iron plate for? Mu Hanqing was puzzled and curious. Nothing much. It's just that my intuition tells me that this iron plate is different from the rest. Qin Feng naturally wouldn't tell her about the runes. Hence, he could only make up an excuse. Chapter 314. Without any suspense, the finals began between Qin Feng and Mu Sheng. The two of them were also the most outstanding youths in the Mu clan's coming-of-age ceremony this year. Mu Sheng was recognized as the favorite to be the champion of this year's competition, but Qin Feng appeared out of nowhere. Although his cultivation level was only at the beginning of the second order, his performance throughout the competition made him the biggest obstacle to Mu Sheng winning the championship. Being able to defeat Mu Li and Mu Hanqing means that you're very strong. Mu Sheng said softly, his eyes full of fighting spirit. It could be seen that this young man was the kind of Stardust warrior who would get more excited when facing a tough opponent. You're very strong too, but I still have to defeat you. Qin Feng clenched his fists tightly. Not only could he fulfill his father's dream by becoming the champion, but he could also fulfill his own wish. The crowd in the stands looked at the two of them with burning eyes. The biennial coming-of-age ceremony was a platform for the Mu clan to discover talents, and there would be plenty of surprises every time. Originally, everyone thought that the champion would be Mu Xing, Mu Li, and Mu Hanqing. However, Qin Feng, who came out of nowhere, forcefully defeated many experts and advanced to the finals. This left the champion in suspense again. The two of them stood quietly in the arena, releasing the star power in their bodies without holding back. Although they had yet to fight, the star power fluctuations in the arena were already extremely intense. Qin Feng understood where his advantage was. Although he was only at the beginning of the second order, with the help of the spirit-swallowing demonic flames and the flaming sun tyrannical technique, the star power in his body was comparable to that of the Stardust warriors who were at the beginning of the second order. Besides, he also had the star technique, Flame Fist, which was low quality of the profound rank, making him almost invincible. Qin Feng lightly inhaled a breath of air. A blazing star power fist whizzed towards Mu Sheng. In the previous few competitions, Qin Feng had always been on the defensive, but in the finals, Qin Feng was full of fighting spirit and took the initiative to attack. A strange smile appeared on Mu Sheng's face, and he suddenly disappeared on the spot, causing Qin Feng's punch to hit nothing. Body Movement Star Technique. Qin Feng had seen a similar body movement star technique when he fought with Tong Wei. That star technique relied on footwork and speed to make the user disappear from the opponent's sight temporarily. However, such a star technique also depended on the cultivation level of the star warrior. As the star warrior's cultivation level improved, the star technique would improve accordingly. After all, the casting of star techniques required the support of one's own star power. Mu Sheng's concealment technique had nowhere to hide in front of the red-faced old man, Mu Chuandao and other powerhouses, but it was a little mysterious to Qin Feng, a Stardust warrior who had just entered Grade 2. His punch missed and Qin Feng cursed in his heart. His back was drenched in cold sweat. His keen perception made him subconsciously take a big step forward. Almost at the same time, Mu Sheng silently appeared behind Qin Feng and punched out. With just a hair's breadth away, Qin Feng still managed to dodge this punch. However, Mu Sheng's powerful fist wind still ruthlessly swept across Qin Feng's back, causing the latter's blood and qi to surge for a moment. Huh! Mu Sheng's heart was filled with horror. Phantom Steps was the killing move he left for the finals. He hoped to use it to defeat Qin Feng when he least expected it. However, he did not expect Qin Feng's ability to adapt to the situation to be so fast. If that punch had hit, with his strength of mid-second order, Qin Feng would have already lost his ability to fight. Mu Sheng's body swayed again, and his position made it difficult for Qin Feng to track him. Qin Feng closed his eyes slightly and keenly sensed the fluctuations and aura around him. Flame Fist Raging Flames. A shocking wave of star power erupted from Qin Feng's body. With him as the center, it spread to the surroundings, and even the temperature of the entire battle arena increased significantly. Found you. Qin Feng murmured and threw a punch in a certain direction. A figure retreated in a disheveled manner. Everyone on the spectator stand gasped in amazement when they saw this scene. Qin Feng used his own star power to sense Mu Sheng's location, but this consumed a lot of his star power. It was not something that ordinary Stardust warriors could withstand and perform. Flame Fist Raging Flames. Qin Feng threw another punch and the fiery star power gushed out again. However, facing Qin Feng's fierce attack, Mu Sheng didn't panic at all. Frost Art Freezing Heaven and Earth. Following Mu Sheng's slight shout, his hand gestures kept changing, and the temperature of the entire stage seemed to have dropped to the freezing point in an instant. Qin Feng's punch also seemed to have been frozen, and the fiery star force actually let out a cracking sound. Qin Feng, who was standing opposite of Mu Sheng, felt it the most vividly. When Mu Sheng spat out those words, it was as though everything on the stage was frozen. Even Qin Feng himself felt that his body was obstructed. His breathing paused as a bone-chilling coldness rapidly enveloped him, causing the blood in his body to freeze. Low-quality star technique? Qin Feng didn't expect Mu Sheng to have a low-quality star technique. Frost Art was one of the 3 low-quality star techniques of the Mu clan, and it was considered to be one of the top ones among the low-quality star techniques. Everyone was in an uproar. Why does Mu Sheng have the low-quality star technique of the clan? It seems that he's not qualified to learn such a star technique. The red-faced old man seemed to understand what everyone was thinking and said in a deep voice, "A month ago, Mu Sheng made a contribution to the clan, and the clan leader and 3 cabinet elders decided to give Mu Sheng the low-quality star technique, Frost Art." Mu Chuandao and the middle-aged bald man at the side nodded continuously, obviously aware of this matter. Everyone's doubts were finally resolved. However, what kind of contribution did Mu Sheng make to be given a low-quality star technique by the clan leader and 3 cabinet elders? A trace of coldness flashed in Mu Sheng's eyes. Although his cold and handsome face was as calm as water, he exuded a domineering aura. After all, the 2 of them were 1 level apart in terms of cultivation, and there was still a gap in the use and comprehension of star techniques and star power. Frost Art, freezing heaven and earth. It was completely winter on the battle arena, and the power of the stars seemed to have been frozen. Qin Feng felt a chill in his bones. Low-quality star techniques are indeed powerful. After countless nights of being refined and cleansed by the spirit-swallowing demonic flames, his meridians were opened, and he had gone through unimaginable pain. If he were to be defeated just like that, Qin Feng would feel indignant. "I must be the champion." Qin Feng yelled angrily, and the fiery star power in his body suddenly erupted without reservation. A shocking wave of star power swept out as if it was going to melt everything. The 2 of them used their best star techniques as soon as they started fighting. Qin Feng no longer had any advantage in terms of star techniques, and the only thing he could rely on now was the competition of star power. The 2 types of star power, ice and fire, formed a stalemate on the battle arena, and a strange scene suddenly appeared on the battle arena. Mu Sheng's side was like a cold winter, while Qin Feng's side was like a hot summer. At this moment, the cultivation levels of the 2 of them were displayed vividly. At this moment, not only were the eyes of the crowd on the spectator stand burning, even the red-faced old man and the other 2 on the high platform were amazed. At stage 2, the strength displayed by the 2 was unexpected. The situation was in a stalemate. Qin Feng circulated his energy in his energy center, and the Flaming Sun tyrannical technique was activated rapidly. Once again, a fierce and domineering star power erupted from his body, and suddenly the icy star power on the battle arena collapsed, and the majestic fiery star power whizzed towards Mu Sheng. Everyone's expression changed and they thought to themselves, "Mu Sheng has lost." Facing Qin Feng's attack, Mu Sheng did not panic at all, and he still looked calm, as if this scene had long been within his expectations, and he had done it deliberately. Disc Blade Shield. Just as Qin Feng's full blow was about to hit Mu Sheng, a small round silver shield appeared in front of the latter. The small silver shield spun non-stop and actually withstood Qin Feng's full-force punch. Inferior yellow-level spiritual treasure. Someone on the spectator stand recognized the grade of the spiritual treasure. Mu Sheng bellowed. After the small silver shield withstood Qin Feng's attack, 3 blades of light appeared around it. The 3 blades of light actually transformed into a silver wheel and flew towards Qin Feng. The 3 blades of light spun rapidly. Qin Feng stared at the disc blade shield, and an unprecedented solemn expression appeared on his face. He could feel a dangerous aura from it. That disc-bladed shield made a strange arc and spun towards Qin Feng at lightning speed. Those 3 light blades spun unceasingly. If one was not careful enough, one's skin would split open and flesh would be torn open. If one was serious, one's limbs would be broken and crippled. Raging Flame Fist, Fire Element Shield. The fiery star power quickly formed a huge star power shield in front of Qin Feng, and the star power shield emitted a scorching aura. The disc blade shield fiercely collided with the star power shield, and the 3 blades of light spun and cut the star power shield. Under the cutting of the 3 blades of light, the star power shield quickly collapsed, and the disc blade shield was only slightly obstructed, and continued to fly towards Qin Feng. However, this slight obstruction bought Qin Feng time to react. Qin Feng continuously retreated, and at the same time he condensed all the star power in his body. When he retreated to the edge of the battle arena, he could no longer retreat. Raging Flame Fist, raging flames burning the sky. The star power in his body seemed to have turned into a ball of flames, and fiercely bombarded the disc blade shield. Under Qin Feng's full-force attack, the disc blade shield actually flew out and flew directly towards the crowd on the spectator stand, causing the crowd's faces to change drastically. The middle-aged bald man on the high platform moved and instantly appeared in mid-air, and actually used his hand to catch the disc blade shield that was spinning at high speed. This action made everyone gasp. The middle-aged bald man actually returned to the high platform in the next moment and placed the disc blade shield in front of the table. There was no complacency on his face at all, as if this action was nothing at all. Qin Feng had already used all his strength in the punch just now, and the star power in his body had become somewhat empty. On the other hand, Mu Sheng looked relaxed, and the situation had already begun to tilt in Mu Sheng's favor. Indeed, as a starry warrior who had reached the middle stage of the second order initial mastery, he had an immense advantage over Qin Feng, who was at the early stage of the second order initial mastery with a profound rank inferior grade star technique and a yellow grade numinous treasure. In the crowd, Mu Qing stared at Qin Feng with a trace of jealousy in his eyes. If it weren't for Qin Feng, he would have been the one entering the star power room to cultivate this time. There are still 3 days to the Young Heroes competition. You guys can take a break during these 3 days, Mu Chuandao said with a smile. Mu Chuandao said a few words to the 5 of them and left. The surrounding young men and women were like sparrows as they began to discuss. Mu Hanqing walked towards Mu Hanyu and Qin Feng with a trace of envy on her face. She was extremely prideful. Although she couldn't enter the star power room to cultivate, she didn't slack off during this period of time. Although her strength was still at the peak of the second order initial mastery, her aura was obviously much stronger. Sister Hanyu, you're going to become a third order powerhouse soon. Mu Hanqing said with a smile. You've improved too, Mu Hanyu said with a smile. Qin Feng, why didn't you advance? You must have been lazy in your cultivation. Mu Hanqing looked at Qin Feng and teased. Qin Feng smiled calmly and didn't comment. After chatting with Mu Hanyu and Mu Hanqing for a while, Qin Feng bade them farewell and returned to the courtyard. Of course, the 2 beautiful girls had successfully attracted a lot of hatred for him during this period of time. However, Qin Feng didn't take it to heart. When Qin Feng returned to the courtyard, he bumped into Qin Haoyuan and his wife who had just returned. Father, mother. Qin Feng called out happily when he saw Qin Haoyuan and his wife. Calculating the time, it had been a long time since he last saw his parents. Qin Haoyuan and his wife were also very happy. Li Rouyu looked at her son who was gradually maturing with a gratified smile on her face. Qin Haoyuan looked at Qin Feng and nodded with a smile. Not bad, Feng, has reached the peak of the second order initial mastery. Qin Feng laughed embarrassedly as he felt that Qin Haoyuan's aura was different from before. Father, you've already reached the third order? Qin Haoyuan nodded and said with a smile. After my injuries healed, my cultivation also improved a little. I just broke through a few days ago. The Young Heroes competition is 3 days later. How are your preparations? I will do my best to get a good ranking, Qin Feng said. Although his goal was to win the championship, there were many experts in the Young Heroes competition after all. He couldn't be too confident. Good, I just got a bottle of good wine, do you want to taste it? Xiesher had already reached the transcendent realm and had a strong resistance against hunger and thirst. With the help of the heaven and earth energy, he could even go without eating or drinking for a long time. However, he was extremely fond of good wine and had collected all kinds of good wine in his residence. Okay, it's settled then. Mu Huaizhi turned his head and said to Mu Qingda, Qingda, bring Qing'er and the rest back first. I will catch up with Grandmaster Xia. Yes. Mu Qingda said respectfully. Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing also followed Mu Qingda and the rest back to the Mu residence. However, before they left, Xiesher's gaze paused on Qin Feng for a moment. After returning to the Mu residence, Qin Feng bade farewell to Mu Qingda, Mu Hanqing, and the rest and quickly returned to his courtyard. He closed the door and with a thought, 2 metal tokens were taken out from the void stone and quietly laid in his palm. When Mu Hanqing obtained the ancient era's metal plate from the auction house, she immediately gave it to Qin Feng. However, what surprised Qin Feng was that the rune in his palm didn't have any reaction. However, he still felt a faint connection between the rune and the 2 metal tokens. If it wasn't for his extraordinary perception, he might not have felt it. Chapter 315. Early in the morning, a figure sat cross-legged on a stone bench in a courtyard of the Mu clan. The power of stars between heaven and earth turned into threads and entered the young man's body through his skin like mischievous little snakes. It was the time when the power of stars between heaven and earth was the strongest and the best time for cultivation. Hence, Qin Feng woke up early every day and cultivated in the courtyard. After advancing to the second rank, there was no need to spend extra effort in tempering the body and forging the bones. The cleansing of the astral force energy could naturally temper the starry warriors' bodies. Hence, starry warriors at the second rank and above basically focused on meditating and training. The higher the level of the star technique, the higher the requirements for the starry warrior state of mind and the lower the requirements for physical cultivation. Of course, the starry warriors who focused on physical cultivation were an exception. Under the same external cultivation conditions, the better the state of mind, the higher the level of comprehension, and the faster the speed of advancement. Qin Feng slowly opened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of turbid air. He could feel that the astral energy whirlpool in his dantian seemed to have become a little bigger. The astral energy in his body was also a little stronger than before. Facing the intense competition of the coming-of-age ceremony, Qin Feng did not dare to relax for the past half a month. He had also opened a small part of the second meridian of the Blazing Sun tyrannical technique. He had also secretly practiced the Blazing Flame Fist several times and had already made some progress. Feng, it seems that your cultivation has improved again. Qin Haoyuan walked out of the house. He had also visited many elders of the Mu clan these days. The elders of the Mu clan had a good impression of Qin Haoyuan. However, whether or not he could return to the clan depended on Qin Feng's performance during the coming-of-age ceremony. Father. Hearing Qin Haoyuan's praise, Qin Feng scratched his head in embarrassment. By the way, Elder Mu Chuandao said that you can go to the clan's elixir room to get 1-star force elixir and 2 second-grade elixirs. Qin Haoyuan suddenly said as he threw a list of elixirs to Qin Feng. Qin Feng took the list and was a little overjoyed. However, he was also shocked by the clan's generosity. A strength of the star pill, in addition to 2 stalks of Tier 2 spirit herbs, was equivalent to close to 10,000 cultivation coins. If they were in Fengling town, they wouldn't even dare to think of such a good thing. In fact, Qin Feng didn't know that in the Mu clan, everyone could go to the elixir room every month to get some elixirs. The number of elixirs one could get was determined by one's performance. If an individual's talent was higher and their star techniques were stronger, it would mean that they would have a greater future and value. Hence, they would be valued by the clan and would be able to receive more pills every month. Of course, even if it was the worst person, the lowest standard would be 2-star strength dawn per month, or receive 10,000 cultivation coins worth of pills or elixirs. That was the benefit of being from a large clan. They were rich in resources and even the worst star techniques could be produced with the accumulation of resources. The Tong family of Fengling town was the most powerful family in the town. However, compared to the Mu clan, they were like dust and rocks. Qin Feng looked at the list of pills excitedly. In fact, he wasn't considered a member of the Mu clan and didn't have the right to receive pills. However, Mu Chuandao specially gave him a list of pills to take care of Qin Feng so that he could further improve his strength and enter the top 10 in the coming-of-age ceremony. The elixir room is in the south court. You can take the list and get it yourself. Overthrowing the imperial power, enchanting crown princess. Qin Haoyuan looked at Qin Feng's excited expression and smiled. Okay. Qin Feng nodded his head. With these 2 Tier 2 spiritual herbs and this strength of the star pill, Qin Feng believed that he would be able to open the second meridian of the Blazing Sun Tyrant technique. If he could open the second meridian, he believed that his strength would increase by a certain amount. After breakfast, Qin Feng couldn't wait to go to the south court of the clan. The Mu clan occupied a large area. Hence, the entire clan was divided into the East Court, South Court, West Court, North Court and Central Court. The elixir room that Qin Feng went to was located in the South Court. Although he wasn't particularly familiar with the Mu clan's terrain, he roughly knew where to go after Qin Haoyuan's instructions. After nearly 2 hours, Qin Feng arrived at the South Court. He saw a 3-story pavilion in the distance. The elixir room had 3 big words on it. The entire pavilion emitted a faint medicinal fragrance. Seeing the words elixir room, Qin Feng's spirit was lifted. Even his footsteps quickened. There were 2 guards standing at the entrance of the elixir room. Their bodies emitted a terrifying aura. Neither of them was weaker than Tong Wen's aura. They were actually 2 third-grade powerhouses. The invincible third-grade powerhouses in Fengling town were actually just 2 ordinary guards in the Mu clan. This made Qin Feng very surprised. Holding the list of herbs from Mu Chuandao, Qin Feng successfully obtained a star power pill and 2 second-grade spiritual herbs, green crystal fruit, from an elder of the elixir room. The fiery red round elixir in his hand emitted a faint fluctuation of star power. The rich medicinal fragrance rushed into the nose, making people feel relaxed and happy. The 2 green crystal fruits were green and translucent, making people's hearts beat faster. The fragrance they emitted was far from what first-grade spiritual herbs could compare to. Haha. Qin Feng carefully put away the elixir and spiritual herbs. His mood was incomparably happy. He couldn't help but laugh. This couldn't be blamed on him. Since he'd transmigrated, he'd never consumed such expensive medicinal pills. Moreover, the Star Force pill and green crystal fruit he received from the pill room today were almost equivalent to 10,000 profound coins, so how could he not be overjoyed? Qin Feng hummed a little tune as he rushed towards the courtyard where he lived. Unexpectedly, on the way, two youths flashed from the side and blocked Qin Feng's path. Qin Feng recognized these two youths. They were the two youths who stood behind Mu Li that day. His good mood was immediately destroyed by these two youths. May I know what the matter is? Qin Feng tried to sound as friendly as possible. He didn't want to cause trouble in the clan. Of these two youths, the slightly taller one was called Mu Lian, and the slightly shorter one was called Mu Yen. They were both extremely loyal subordinates of Mu Li. That day they wanted to teach Qin Feng a lesson with Mu Li, but Mu Hanyu's appearance made them give up. However, they wanted to wait until Qin Feng was alone to deal with him. Unexpectedly, Qin Feng had been in seclusion for half a month, so they couldn't find an opportunity. Today they finally caught a good opportunity. When the two of them saw that Qin Feng had actually received a stellar force pellet and two green crystal fruits from the pill room, their mouths watered even more. They discussed and decided to snatch the stellar force pellet and green crystal fruits from Qin Feng's hands. Kid, you were lucky last time. Today no one can protect you. However, if you give the star power pill and green crystal fruit to us, you can avoid a round of physical pain. Mu Lian said with a malicious smile. However, Mu Lian knew that Qin Feng wouldn't easily hand over the star power pill and green crystal fruit. Therefore he had an excuse to teach Qin Feng a lesson and snatch the star power pill and green crystal fruit. Qin Feng glanced at the two youths and snorted coldly, saying, "You two scram as far as you can." The group of youths' faces became ugly. Most of them were at the peak of the early Second Order. Their battle strength was even weaker than Mu Xiang's. Seeing Qin Feng defeat Mu Xiang so cleanly, they were incomparably shocked. Seeing Mu Xiang's ashen face, Mu Li didn't fly into a rage like everyone imagined. Instead he sneered, "You really have some skills." After saying that, he took a step forward and a kind of star power pressure enveloped Qin Feng. The star power pressure was several times stronger than that of Mu Xiang's. Qin Feng reckoned that Mu Li's cultivation should be at the beginning of the middle Second Order. Although Qin Feng wasn't confident of winning against a star warrior who was at the beginning of the middle Second Order, he wasn't afraid of going all out because he still had several trump cards in his hands. Just as Mu Li was about to attack, he heard a delicate voice. "Stop it." A young girl in a purple dress appeared at the door. She looked to be about 17 years old and had a slender figure. Her dress outlined her graceful curves. The young girl was rather pretty and her slightly raised eyebrows revealed a trace of heroism that wasn't inferior to that of a man. However, her beautiful face was as cold as ice and kept others at a distance. "Sister Hanyu," one of the youths called softly, sounding a little fearful. The young girl named Mu Hanyu was the granddaughter of the Mu clan's patriarch, Mu Qianlang. Not only was she the dream goddess of the youths, but her star technique talent was also astonishing. She took part in the previous competition when she was 15 years old and came in first. Now she was only 17 years old and was already an expert at the peak of the Second Order. Mu Hanyu came to the courtyard and said coldly, "What are you guys doing here? Don't you want to participate in the coming-of-age ceremony?" When Mu Li saw Mu Hanyu, he didn't dare to be too presumptuous and said softly, "Sister Hanyu, we're just sparring." "Sparring? Mu Li, do you want to spar with me?" Her voice was as cold as ever and didn't seem to be friendly at all. Mu Li didn't dare to spar with Mu Hanyu because that would be asking for a beating. He glared at Qin Feng and said, "Kid, count yourself lucky today. Don't let me see you during the competition. Otherwise I'll teach you a lesson. Let's go." After Mu Li and the rest left, Qin Feng said calmly, "Thank you, Sister Hanyu. You're not a good person either." Mu Hanyu humphed coldly and turned to leave, leaving Qin Feng smiling bitterly. However, when Mu Hanyu's beautiful figure was about to disappear, a voice came from the door. "Be careful if you meet Mu Li during the competition." This sentence made Qin Feng feel that this ice beauty's heart wasn't as cold and heartless as he thought. Qin Feng didn't tell Qin Hao Yuan and his wife about what happened today because he was afraid that they would be worried about him. After all, their status in the Mu clan was low and he didn't want to cause trouble the moment he arrived. In the room, Qin Feng sat cross-legged on the bed. The stellar energy whirlpool in his dantian started to revolve non-stop. Suddenly, a suction force appeared around Qin Feng's body and the stellar energy between heaven and earth rushed toward Qin Feng's body under this suction force. Boom! The stellar energy was surging in his meridians. With a thought, Qin Feng directed the stellar energy to a meridian. This meridian was the second meridian among the 19 meridians that needed to be opened in order to cultivate the Flaming Sun tyrannical art. Qin Feng had spent a few days trying to open this meridian, but the progress was minimal. The difficulty of cultivating the Flaming Sun tyrannical art had far exceeded Qin Feng's imagination. If he wanted to refine the stellar energy between heaven and earth and strengthen the stellar energy in his body, he had to successfully cultivate the Flaming Sun tyrannical art and open 19 meridians. However, opening 19 meridians would require a large amount of stellar energy. With the stellar energy in Qin Feng's body, it was already good that he was able to open the first meridian. It would be difficult for him to open the second meridian. Under the guidance of Qin Feng's will, the stellar energy crashed against the heavy blockages within his meridians. The stellar energy within his body had also been pushed to the limit at this moment. However, the blockages within his meridians did not budge at all. After several days of impact, only 1/10 of his meridians had been opened. If the second meridian was already so difficult, who knew how difficult it would be to open the last meridian? After the stellar energy slammed into his meridians for 2 hours, the stellar energy in his body started to show signs of exhaustion. After Qin Feng finished his cultivation, a bitter smile appeared on his face. It would be great if he had some stellar energy elixirs. It would be extremely beneficial for him to break through his meridians. The stellar energy elixirs were elixirs made from spiritual herbs or energy crystals that contained stellar energy. They could quickly restore the stellar energy in a starry warrior's body. For example, the stellar energy elixir was one of them. However, this elixir was extremely precious. Even in the entire Mu clan, there were only 5,000 stellar energy elixirs distributed to the younger generation every year. The current Qin Feng could only absorb and refine the stellar energy from heaven and earth and then use it to break through the blockages in his meridians. However, not only did it consume his mind, it was also extremely slow. Qin Feng felt that the cultivation of a starry warrior was not only related to his own diligence but also related to the resources in the outside world and his own opportunities. Even if he were to cultivate day and night, it would take him a few years to break through these 19 meridians. However, if he had enough resources, he could greatly shorten the time. Now, he hoped that he could obtain a good ranking in the clan's coming-of-age ceremony and return to the Mu clan. Then he could use the clan's resources to cultivate. However, after cultivating the Blazing Sun tyrannical art, Qin Feng also felt that some changes had occurred to the stellar energy within his body. Following the opening of the first meridian, the stellar energy within his body gradually became somewhat fiery, containing a trace of tyrannical and ferocious feeling. Flaming Sun tyrannical skill. Although this change was extremely small, Qin Feng's intuition told him that if he cultivated the Flaming Sun tyrannical skill to completion, all the stellar energy in his body would be converted into the Flaming Sun tyrannical skill. His strength would definitely increase greatly. Qin Feng stretched out his hand and summoned the devouring spirit devil flame. Staring at the pulsating black flame, Qin Feng's face revealed a trace of doubt. He had studied this devouring spirit devil flame for a long time, but he still did not gain any results. Qin Feng believed that the devouring spirit devil flame's function was not only to open meridians, refine bones and cleanse marrows. It should have some other uses. Otherwise, how could it be called a rare flame of heaven and earth? The devouring spirit devil flame was also a trump card in his hand. He could not let others know about it. If he could study its function, then it would greatly increase his battle strength. Qin Feng stored the devouring spirit devil flame back into his body. When he thought about what happened during the day, he felt a little troubled. Just a few days after returning to the clan, he had already formed a grudge with a group of youngsters. Moreover, the strength of these youngsters was not weak. The leader, Mu Li, was about the same age as Qin Feng, but his cultivation had astonishingly reached the intermediate second order. Chapter 316. Mu Hanqing glanced at Qin Feng but didn't say anything. Maybe that senior is an expert living in seclusion in the Sunset Mountain range and doesn't want to show himself. Mu Kuan guessed. Mu Hanyu came to Qin Feng and said, "Qin Feng, since we've met, why don't we go together?" Qin Feng shook his head and said, "Thank you, Sister Hanyu, but I still want to train alone. Hanqing is injured, please take care of her." The reason why Qin Feng didn't want to go with them was because he saw that Mu Kuan and Mu Cheng were hostile towards him. If they were to go together, they would probably fight within 2 days. Mu Hanyu was stunned. She didn't expect Qin Feng to reject her suggestion. This was the first time she was rejected. "Qin Feng, I will wait for you at the selection." Mu Cheng shouted, anger flashing in his eyes. "Okay." Qin Feng was unmoved and turned to leave. Looking at Qin Feng's back, Mu Hanqing said angrily, "What a stubborn guy. Seems like cousin Qin Feng has gained a lot during this period of time?" Mu Kun could feel that Qin Feng's aura was much stronger than before. "I'll definitely teach him a lesson during the selection," Mu Qing said fiercely. After separating from Mu Hanyu and the rest, Qin Feng once again wandered alone in the Sunset Mountain range. When he was thirsty, he drank a mouthful of spring water. When he was hungry, he ate a wild fruit. When he was lucky, he might even find some elixirs. Time also flowed by in minutes and seconds, and Qin Feng's strength once again rose under this kind of tempering. The youth sat cross-legged on the ground like a stone statue. The grade 2 green crystal fruit that he just consumed was now fully released. The flaming sun tyrant art was slowly circulating in his body. Pure star energy flowed through his meridians and circulated throughout his body, nourishing his entire body. This kind of cultivation continued for a full 4 hours. The youth's slightly closed eyes slowly opened, and his originally serious little face flashed with a touch of excitement. He faintly felt that he was about to break through again. Mid-second order small perfection? How was this possible? Even Qin Feng himself didn't dare to believe it. It hadn't even been a month since he entered the peak second order small perfection and he was about to break through again? However, his instincts told him that as long as he had enough star force, it shouldn't be a problem for him to advance again. Because of the spirit-swallowing devil flame, Qin Feng's rank 1 foundation was abnormally firm. No matter if it was the width of his meridians or the strength of his bones, they were all far beyond ordinary people. In addition, with the Flaming Sun Tyrant technique, a middle-level profound rank cultivation method, the speed and efficiency of absorbing star energy from the world was much higher than ordinary people. Therefore, this kind of advancement speed was very normal for him. However, the power of the stars between heaven and earth was relatively thin. Although the blazing sun tyrant art was operating to the extreme, this kind of energy was still not enough for it to level up. If one didn't have enough star force when advancing, even if one had the opportunity to advance, one wouldn't be able to advance. At this moment, Qin Feng thought of the astral force chamber of his clan. The amount of astral force there should be enough to allow him to break through. I must definitely become one of the 5. Thinking of this, Qin Feng clenched his fists tightly as he thought in his heart. After Qin Feng finished cultivating, he continued rushing towards the exit of the mountain range. According to his estimation, he should be in front of the vast majority of people. However, while he was on his way, he suddenly felt a faint fluctuation coming from the forest not far ahead. "Who is it?" Qin Feng shouted loudly. The star force in his palm condensed and a streak of star force pierced through the air and shot towards the forest. Whoosh! A black shadow flashed out from the forest and fled into the distance. Spiritual medicine monkey? Qin Feng recognized that the black shadow was the spiritual medicine monkey. He felt that the fluctuation it emitted should be a rank 1 demonic beast. Moreover, it was a young monkey. The spiritual medicine monkey's attack power was one of the weaker demonic beasts. However, its intelligence was quite high. It also had a special ability, which was the ability to find spiritual medicine. As long as the spiritual medicine monkey appeared, there would definitely be spiritual medicine nearby. Moreover, the spiritual medicine's grade wouldn't be too low. However, although the spiritual medicine monkey's attack power was weak, its specialty was that it was extremely agile and difficult to capture. The spiritual medicine monkey's temperament was extremely unyielding. If it wasn't willing, even if it was captured alive, it would starve to death. Therefore, it was very rare for people to use it to find spiritual medicine. Qin Feng knew all this from the so-called leisure books in the clan's library. My girlfriend is a zombie. Thinking of this, Qin Feng chased after the little spiritual medicine monkey. He didn't want to capture the little spiritual medicine monkey because even if it was a rank 1 little spiritual medicine monkey, it would be difficult for him to capture it with his skills. He mainly wanted to see if there were any spiritual medicine around. However, the little spiritual medicine monkey was extremely strange. Its movement was obviously very fast, but every time Qin Feng was about to lose it, the little spiritual medicine monkey's speed would decrease as if it was waiting for Qin Feng. This made Qin Feng, who originally wanted to give up, chase again. However, every time Qin Feng increased his speed, the little spiritual medicine monkey would also increase its speed and run forward. It always maintained a distance from Qin Feng. This happened a few times. Finally, Qin Feng stopped and decided not to chase anymore. Unexpectedly, he discovered a strange scene. When Qin Feng was about to rush back, the little spiritual medicine monkey actually chased after him again. It was squeaking at Qin Feng from a distance. Qin Feng turned around and looked at the little spiritual medicine monkey with a puzzled expression. He knew that the spiritual medicine monkey was very intelligent and wouldn't act like this for no reason. Therefore, he also wanted to know what the little spiritual medicine monkey was doing. This little spiritual medicine monkey had gray fur and its size was not much different from a normal monkey. However, it had a bunch of white fur on its head which was very conspicuous. Its body also emitted a faint fragrance of spiritual medicine. This fragrance was formed when it was often in a spiritual medicine land. The little spiritual medicine monkey scratched its head and squeaked twice. It extended a front paw and pointed forward. The monkey's squeak had a trace of sadness and its eyes also had a hint of hope. "You want me to follow you?" Qin Feng looked for a long time before he realized what the little spiritual medicine monkey meant. The little spiritual medicine monkey seemed to be able to understand human language. It nodded its head and dashed forward. Qin Feng's curiosity was greatly aroused. Therefore he followed from a distance. Rank 2-star warriors still couldn't walk in the air. When they reached rank 3, they had the ability to create shapes and could walk in the air for a short period of time. Experts of celestial realm and above could walk in the air for a long period of time. The little spiritual medicine monkey rushed forward. From time to time it would look back at Qin Feng. When it saw that Qin Feng was far behind, it also scratched its ears and cheeks. Its eyes revealed an anxious expression. After walking like this for about 2 hours, the surrounding people became more and more scarce. Qin Feng could feel that he had already left the mountain range's exit. Instead, he was rushing toward the depths of the mountain range. Mu Lian and Mu Yan's expressions kept changing. They were very surprised. Although they saw Qin Feng defeat Mu Xiang in 3 moves, they were definitely not his match when they joined forces. They didn't expect that after not seeing him for half a month, Qin Feng's cultivation had improved by a lot. Even when they joined forces, they were still at a disadvantage. However, Qin Feng was not much better at this time. After fighting with Mu Lian and Mu Yan, even if he had the Flaming Sun Tyrant Profound, he still felt a little uncomfortable. After all, he had only opened 1 meridian. The star energy in his body only had a trace of the Flaming Sun Tyrant Profound's aura. It had not completely transformed into the Flaming Sun Tyrant Profound. After the fight just now, there was not much star energy left in Qin Feng's body. If they were to continue fighting, it would be hard to predict the outcome. Mu Yan, this brat is a little overwhelmed. Let's put in more effort and we can beat this brat down. Mu Lian saw some clues and guessed that Qin Feng had reached the point of exhaustion. He said to Mu Yan. Although Mu Lian and Mu Yan were at a disadvantage, they were still at the peak of the early Second Order. Their strength could not be underestimated. Especially if they were to fight for a long time, it would be disadvantageous for Qin Feng. Mu Lian and Mu Yan looked at each other and attacked again. Qin Feng's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. He took out the star energy pellet and put it in his mouth. With a roll of his tongue, he swallowed the star energy pellet. The pure medicinal power spread out like a tide, and the depleted star power in his body immediately became incomparably abundant. The star power vortex in Qin Feng's dantian rotated very fast, and in the process of rotation, it seemed to have become a little bigger. Air-splitting palm split into pieces. Qin Feng's palms shot out with a fierce wind, directly pressing towards Mu Lian and Mu Yan's chests. Mu Lian and Mu Yan suddenly felt a wave of fiery star energy rushing towards them. The powerful force made it difficult for them to breathe. The 3 figures heavily collided with each other. Qin Feng's palms broke through Mu Lian and Mu Yan's attacks and landed on their chests. Bang! Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Mu Lian and Mu Yan looked as if they were struck by lightning. Their faces suddenly became incomparably pale. Then, a trace of dark red streaked across and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of their mouths. The 2 figures flew out and fell several feet away. The crowd was in an uproar and the sound of discussion was incessant. However, Qin Feng was not in the mood to listen to what they were saying. He glanced at the 2 people on the ground and hurriedly left. He had to hurry back and refine the star energy pellet that he swallowed. Qin Feng, brotherly will definitely not let you go. Mu Lian roared at Qin Feng's back. Qin Feng hurriedly returned to his room and closed the door. He sat cross-legged on the bed and formed a seal with both hands, circulating the blazing sun tyrannical art. To the current Qin Feng, the star energy pellet was like the rain that a drought field was looking forward to. The star force pellet contained pure star force, which was like a surging torrent, as it exploded within his body. Qin Feng gathered his qi and guided the star energy pellet into the 2nd meridian that had not made any progress for a long time. Under Qin Feng's guidance, The star energy pellet arrived at the second meridian that the blazing sun tyrannical art needed to open. It fiercely attacked the blockage in the meridian. Like Tong Shui slapping on the shore, the torrent of star power unceasingly battered against the layers of blockages in his meridians. Qin Feng had already opened a small part of the second meridian. However, before he could only slowly open it bit by bit like an ant-moving house. The efficiency was extremely low. Zither fights the world, proud world evil concubine. However, with the help of the star energy pellet, the star energy pellet's effect was clearly much better. Not long after, the blockage in the meridian showed signs of loosening. Qin Feng was delighted. He also increased the speed of the circulation of the blazing sun tyrannical art. In a room in the Mu clan's courtyard, the youth's figure was like an old monk in meditation. He sat there for nearly 4 hours. Bang bang bang. From within the youth's body, faint sounds of impact could be heard. That was the muffled sound of the star energy pellet attacking the blockage in the meridian. The youth's eyes were tightly shut. His eyebrows were slightly furrowed, but the corner of his mouth showed a hint of determination. Although this kind of impact on the meridian did not bring about intense pain, that kind of dull pain was not very pleasant. However, the youth clearly clenched his teeth and persevered. As the sound of the impact between the river and the shore in the youth's body became louder and louder, the youth's expression also became more and more serious. His teeth also tightly bit his lips. Large beads of sweat slowly slid down his forehead. His clothes were also drenched in sweat. Boom. Along with a low and deep muffled sound, Qin Feng suddenly felt the star energy in his body fiercely collide with the layers of blockages in his meridians. Those blockages were finally unable to withstand the impact of the star energy and completely collapsed. A kind of carefree and comfortable feeling spontaneously arose. Qin Feng slowly opened his eyes. His face revealed a trace of uncontrollable excitement. He also discovered that the star energy pellet seemed to have increased by a bit. It was really hard to imagine how strong it would be when all the star energy in his body was converted to star energy pellet. However, Qin Feng knew that it was easier said than done to convert all the star energy in his body into star energy pellet. Opening the second meridian was already so difficult, not to mention the other 17 meridians. This time, if not for the help of the star energy pellet, even if he used another half a month, he might not be able to open the second meridian. Feeling the increase in strength in his body, Qin Feng had more confidence in the clan's coming-of-age ceremony. Slap slap. In a small courtyard in the Mu clan, a youth fiercely slapped 2 other youths. The rest of the youths did not dare to say a word. Useless things, the 2 of you can't even take care of a small early-stage second-order brat. This will definitely make Mu Xing laugh to death. Mu Li's face was full of anger. The other 2 youths were Mu Lian and Mu Yen who fought with Qin Feng today. However, at this time, both of them were slapped and did not dare to say a word. Brother Li, that brat is a little strange, especially the star energy in his body. It's especially overbearing. Mu Xiang said from the side. Thinking back to his fight with Qin Feng half a month ago, he still felt a little apprehensive. No matter what, he's just a brat who just stepped into second order. He really made me lose all my face. Mu Li coldly snorted. Brother Li, originally we wouldn't have lost today, but he ate a star energy pellet and his star energy pellet greatly increased. That's why we lost. Mu Lian also explained. Star energy pellet? How did he get it? A trace of surprise flashed across Mu Li's face. Star energy pellet was extremely precious even to him. Every month he could only receive 3 pellets. We went to the elixir hall and heard that it was specially approved by Elder Mu Chuandao. Mu Yen replied in a low voice. Is that so? No wonder he's so arrogant, so he has Elder Mu's backing. Then let him be arrogant for 2 days, wait until the coming-of-age ceremony to deal with him. Mu Li gritted his teeth and said. Qin Feng made him lose face, and the most important thing for a hot-blooded youth was face. Therefore, Mu Li decided to find an opportunity to ruthlessly teach him a lesson. Chapter 317. What appeared in front of everyone was a cyan-colored broadsword. The broadsword was about 1 meter long, and the blade was slightly wider than an ordinary broadsword. There were many rune-like imprints on the blade, and these imprints reflected a rainbow light like a rainbow. Domineering. This was the first impression everyone had when they saw the cyan rainbow blade. They also felt an extremely dense domineering aura from the cyan rainbow blade. Qin Feng looked at the cyan rainbow blade and exclaimed in his heart. If he could buy this cyan rainbow blade, coupled with a profound rank blade technique, and supplemented with scorching sun tyrannical profound, he would definitely be incomparably powerful. He might even be able to fight against a rank 3 powerhouse. A low-grade profound rank spirit treasure could greatly increase a starry warrior's combat strength, and it was rare in the entire Tianfeng province. This cyan rainbow blade was also refined by Xie with great difficulty. With his strength as a soul sculptor, refining a low-grade profound rank spirit treasure was still somewhat strenuous, and the success rate was not high. Saint Daojura. Elixirs and pills could only increase a starry warrior's advancement, cultivation efficiency, and success rate. Spirit treasures, on the other hand, could truly increase a starry warrior's combat strength. Therefore, if a starry warrior had to choose between the two, they would definitely choose spirit treasures. Although a low-grade profound rank spirit treasure and a high-grade yellow rank spirit treasure were only one level apart, their effects and prices were not on the same level. A profound rank spirit treasure with the starry warrior star power could display some unique skills. Although this cyan rainbow blade did not have any unique skills, looking at its sharp blade, even a peak rank 3 starry warrior's body would not dare to easily take it head-on. 50 million cultivation coins. Someone immediately shouted a price. Although they knew it would be difficult to compete with the 4 major forces, they still wanted to try. 55 million cultivation coins. 60 million cultivation coins. Under the crowd's push, the price of the cyan rainbow blade soared. There was a small sect in the hall that immediately gave up after bidding 70 million cultivation coins. Not to mention that they did not have the financial resources to compete for this kind of treasure. Even if they did, it would be a disaster. 100 million cultivation coins. A stern voice sounded, causing everyone to shiver uncontrollably. A profound rank low-grade spirit treasure, according to the normal price, should be around 80 million to 100 million cultivation coins. And this bid had reached the peak of the price of a mystic rank low-grade spirit treasure. Qin Feng cast his gaze towards the source of the voice. It was a middle-aged man from the Lei clan. His face was glowing with vigor, his eyes were like torches, and his body emitted a bloody aura. According to Mu Qingda, that person's surname was Nda, and he was an elder of the Lei clan. He had killed countless people, and his cultivation had reached the half-step trance-divine stage. He was only half a step away from the trance-divine stage, and he was known as the strongest person under the trance-divine stage in the Tianfeng County. 810 million profound coins. Out of everyone's expectations, the Lu clan's Lu Li actually followed up with a bid. 110 million cultivation coins was not a small sum. The Lu clan had just spent 95 million cultivation coins. He did not expect them to still have such wealth. Anda glanced at Lu Li and coldly said, 120 million profound coins. Everyone seemed to be numb to the phenomenon of squandering money like water. It would be strange if there was no such competition. Yao Li was secretly delighted. In this auction, the starting price of all the items was only half of their true value. This was also the strategy they had formulated after much research. Only by setting the starting price low and allowing everyone to participate in the bidding could the price of the items be raised. Only by stimulating these people's vigor and anger during the bidding could the price of the items be raised. Looking at the current situation, this strategy was extremely effective, and the results were even better than expected. The first metal plate was sold for a high price of 6 million profound coins, which made many people flabbergasted. 130 million profound coins. Lu Li's bid was already somewhat lacking in confidence, but looking at his appearance he still wanted to make one last gamble. 140 million profound coins. Anda's voice contained a kind of austere aura, causing people to tremble in fear. Looking at Lu Li's unsightly expression, everyone knew that he would not continue to bid. 140 million profound coins. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Yao Li looked around and saw that no one else was bidding. After repeating it 3 times, the auction hammer fell heavily, and the rainbow saber also fell into the hands of the Lei clan. Everyone, the next item of this auction is the last item of this auction. I believe everyone has already heard that it is a profound level inferior grade star technique. As soon as Yao Li's voice fell, the entire auction hall was filled with gasps of surprise, and the atmosphere in the entire hall reached a climax. Profound level inferior grade star technique 9 shadows illusionary steps. Yao Li took the last silver plate and removed the brocade cloth, revealing a scroll lying quietly on the silver plate. Profound level inferior grade star techniques were definitely rare in the entire Tianfeng prefecture, and would cause a bloodbath wherever they were placed. In auctions, profound level star techniques were priceless because no one would be so extravagant as to put them up for auction. Everyone looked at the scroll on the silver plate with covetous eyes. Star techniques were different from pills and numinous treasures. The latter two could only benefit one person, but star techniques could benefit the entire clan and clan. Everyone, this star technique is a body movement star technique. When cultivated to the greater mastery level, you will be able to produce 9 shadows. It's an extremely powerful auxiliary star technique. The starting price is 100 million profound coins, and each bit increment must be no less than 8 million profound coins. Yao Li said calmly. He didn't need to waste his breath on this star technique because its value could be seen from the level of the star technique. Qin Feng looked at the profound level inferior grade star technique, and his heart skipped a beat. Now he was exactly lacking such a body movement star technique. Although the clan also had some body movement star techniques, the level was too low, and even if they were cultivated to the greater mastery level, there wouldn't be much effect. However, he didn't have the capital to bid for this profound level star technique now. Hence, he was also pinning his hopes on the clan. However, the Mu clan didn't bid previously, probably because of this profound level star technique. Qin Feng glanced at Mu Qingda, only to see that the latter was frowning. Although he was staring at the profound level star technique, his expression was extremely solemn, and no one knew what he was thinking. 100 million profound coins. Someone in the hall yelled. Although they knew that it was meaningless to bid like that, they didn't hesitate to call out the starting price, perhaps because they wanted to highlight their existence. 110 million profound coins. 120 million profound coins. Amidst the heated atmosphere, the price of the 9 Shadows Void Steps was pushed up to 150 million profound coins by the people in the hall. The person who called out that price was a second-rate force in Tianfeng Prefecture. The man who called out the price was flushed red, and it seemed that he had also given his all in a bid to try his luck. When the price reached 150 million profound coins, the entire auction house fell silent, and everyone turned to look at the 4 major forces in the VIP seats. In the entire Tianfeng province, only the 4 great powers could afford to pay such a high price. Qin Feng smacked his lips and thought, the profound level star technique is indeed expensive. I'm really lucky to have 3 profound level star techniques with me. If the clan could get this star technique, Qin Feng believed that he would definitely have a chance to learn it. Although the entire auction house was quiet, the heavy breathing of the crowd caused the atmosphere in the auction house to become increasingly heated. Everyone knew that the real battle was about to begin. Now, the Lu clan of the 4 major forces had obtained the heart-coagulating blood orchid, the Lei clan had obtained the rainbow saber, and the Fengyun clan and Mu clan hadn't made a move apart from the first auction item. 160 million profound coins. Lu Li was the first to call out the price. Boom, boom, boom. After a few consecutive attacks, Mu Qing barely managed to withstand Qin Feng's attacks, but his figure was extremely disheveled. Everyone looked at everything that happened on the stage with disbelief in their eyes. Mu Qing, whose strength was definitely in the top 5 of the clan, was actually beaten by Qin Feng to the point that he could only defend and couldn't fight back. The entire situation was one-sided. How could they not be shocked? Qin Feng is a good child. Mu Huaiji nodded. This respected elder had a rather high opinion of Qin Feng. He's just relying on a high-grade star technique. It's not considered a game or a journey, Mu Yuntang said calmly. The others knew about the feud between Mu Yuntang and Qin Haoyuan and didn't want to offend Mu Yuntang for Qin Feng. Hence they didn't interrupt. Boom. After another fierce attack, Mu Qing was blasted a few steps back again. Mu Qing wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at Qin Feng fiercely. You want to beat me? I won't let you have it easy. All of a sudden, the aura exuding from Mu Qing's body suddenly became much stronger and vaguely reached the peak of the second order. The power of the stars in his body quickly condensed in his palm, and the palm print in his hand kept changing, emitting a terrifying aura. Mu Qing bit the tip of his tongue gently and spat out a mouthful of blood essence, which merged with the Qingyuan seal in his palm. Blood fusion technique, blood sacrifice to the seal. Mu Huaiji and the others on the high platform exclaimed in shock. The blood fusion technique was a secret technique that could increase the cultivation of starry warriors in a short period of time. Blood sacrifice to the seal was a secret technique of the Qingyuan seal that could instantly increase the power of the seal. Although these 2 secret techniques could increase the combat power of starry warriors in a short period of time, they were extremely harmful to starry warriors. In serious cases they might even be bedridden for a year and a half. Therefore these 2 techniques were forbidden by the Mu clan. However, Mu Qing violated the clan's rules and actually practiced these 2 techniques privately. Qin Feng was just about to use his star technique to resist Mu Cheng's attack when a familiar feeling surged from his heart. It was very similar to the feeling he had when he fought with the horned wind wolf in the Luoxia Mountains. A burning sensation erupted from his dantian, and the star power vortex in his dantian suddenly became much larger. He suddenly felt refreshed, and the aura exuding from his body suddenly strengthened. Advancement. Intermediate second order initial success. Everyone stared at Qin Feng on the stage in shock, their eyes full of shock. Under Mu Cheng's coercion, Qin Feng actually advanced again, less than 3 months after his last breakthrough. Some people on the high platform wanted to stop the two of them, but they were stopped by Mu Yuntang on the grounds of waiting and watching. Those with discerning eyes knew that Mu Yuntang was using his power to avenge private grudges. Now that Qin Feng was at the critical moment of advancement, and Mu Cheng's aura was at its peak, if they were not careful, Qin Feng would definitely be seriously injured or even become a disabled person. However, Mu Huaiji, Mu Chuandao, and the others were extremely calm and did not stop them. Qin Feng, go to hell. Mu Cheng's figure soared into the air, and with a wave of his palms, a bright green light seal with incomparable power fiercely blasted towards Qin Feng, who was in the midst of advancement. The green light seal quickly streaked across, and with a woo-woo sound, it left a faint trace in the air, and like a green lightning, it blasted towards Qin Feng. Everyone held their breath, looking at the two people on the stage. Some of the girls screamed and closed their eyes, not daring to look at this thrilling scene. Qin Feng fiercely opened his eyes, and his whole body exuded a cold bronze color. Both of his hands clenched into fists, and the fierce and overbearing scorching sun tyrant profound condensed on his fists, and in a very shocking way, it collided with the green light seal. Boom! A violent fluctuation of star power like a hurricane, with the battle stage as the center, spread out in all directions. The boys and girls who were standing a little closer to the battle stage were actually pushed back dozens of steps by this kind of fluctuation. Their faces were pale, and the blood in their body was surging, rolling over and over in their chest. On the ground of the battle stage there were actually a few slight cracks. Small pieces of gravel were sent flying in all directions, hitting the surrounding boys and girls and causing dozens of groans. However, the crowd couldn't care less as they looked at the two people on the stage. This time the victor should be decided, right? The entire training ground was silent, and only the sound of everyone's heartbeat could be heard. Everyone looked at the battle stage, and in the midst of the dust, the two figures stood facing each other. For a moment no one could tell who was the victor. Who won? Someone below the stage muttered. I don't know, it should be Mu Cheng. With the power of the green light seal, I reckon it will be hard for Qin Feng to receive it. Big Sister Hanyu, who won? Mu Hanqing looked at the two figures from afar, and her heart was very nervous. She didn't expect the battle between the two to be so intense. You don't know? Mu Hanyu shook her head. The fluctuation just now was too intense and it caused the dust to fill the air. She didn't see who won and who lost. On the high stage, Mu Huaiji and the others saw this scene clearly. Mu Yuntang's face was red, but his eyes were coldly staring at Qin Feng. The more outstanding Qin Feng's performance was, the more he thought of his son who died tragically, and the hatred in his heart overflowed. You lost. After a long while, Qin Feng on the stage suddenly said, I didn't expect you to be so strong. Even if I used the blood fusion technique and the blood sacrifice seal, I still couldn't win against you. Mu Cheng smiled miserably and fell backwards. The crowd was in an uproar and their eyes fell on Qin Feng with shock. No one expected Qin Feng to be so strong. Even if Mu Cheng used 2 secret techniques, he still couldn't defeat him. 2 clansmen quickly jumped onto the battle stage and carried Mu Cheng down. This time, Mu Cheng was seriously injured and he would have to lie in bed for at least a year. Can we announce the results? Qin Feng said softly to the judge, who was in a daze. The judge only recovered after a long time and said, Qin Feng wins. With the end of the battle between Qin Feng and Mu Cheng, the competition entered the next round. The 10 young elites of the Mu clan would fight in pairs, fighting for the name list of the 5 people. Qin Feng's opponent was a young man named Mu Yong. Although Mu Yong didn't get a good ranking in the competition 2 years ago, his performance this time was extremely strong, and Qin Feng had to be cautious. Chapter 318. I have nothing to do, so I decided to take a look. Anqing, you are also here to read. Qin Feng laughed hollowly. However, he was on high alert in his heart. Previously she gave him a void stone for no reason. If it wasn't for Zheng Jian's appearance, he didn't know what kind of method she would use to deal with him. What's so good about the books here? Why aren't you making the best use of your time to cultivate? Why are you reading these casual books? In a few days you will be going out to gain experience. Mu Hanqing curled her lips. Actually, these books look quite interesting. Qin Feng said with a smile. Oh. Mu Hanqing took the book and flipped through it. She wasn't interested in it and threw the book back to Qin Feng. I think you should make the best use of your time to cultivate. In half a year, it will be the Soaring Dragon City's Young Elites competition. Don't let that Zheng Jian become the champion again. I heard that he will soon advance to the Great Circle of Second Order Peak. When Mu Hanqing mentioned Zheng Jian, she felt disgusted. Although Zheng Jian's reputation wasn't good, his cultivation was the #1 in the younger generation of Soaring Dragon City. In the previous Young Elites competition, he defeated Mu Hanyu and became the champion. His name shook the entire Soaring Dragon City. It's useless to tell me this. I'm so weak. I am far inferior compared to Big Sister Hanyu. There are plenty of people in the clan who are stronger than me. Qin Feng shook his head. He didn't have the confidence to defeat Zheng Jian. Why are you so unambitious? Isn't there still half a year? This young lady thinks highly of you. Mu Hanqing smiled craftily and patted Qin Feng's shoulder. Her pair of big eyes flickered and she had a harmless appearance. Qin Feng suddenly felt the gazes from the surrounding people. Many of them were hot-blooded youths who viewed Mu Hanqing as a goddess. Only then did he realize that this lass was pulling hatred towards him. Qin Feng smiled bitterly. He looked at Mu Hanqing, who was pretending to be innocent, and said helplessly, "All right, I will do my best to cultivate and defeat that Zheng Jian in the Young Elites competition." That's right. Mu Hanqing said with satisfaction. Behind a bookshelf not far away, a pair of eyes stared at Qin Feng and cursed, "You dare to snatch Sister Qing from me? If I don't deal with you, my name isn't Mu Cheng." Women, especially beautiful women, were definitely femme fatale. Qin Feng didn't doubt the authenticity of this sentence. He looked helplessly at the two youths in front of him. After coming out of the library, he wanted to rush back to the courtyard to cultivate. Unexpectedly, he was blocked by two youths. Qin Feng had stayed in Mu clan for a long time, and he recognized the two teenagers in front of him. Mu Kuan, 18 years old, Second Order Peak Stage initial success. He lost to Mu Hanyu in one move in the family competition 2 years ago. Mu Qing, 18 years old, Second Order Peak, 3rd place in the competition 2 years ago. Besides Mu Hanyu, these two people were also the two most powerful people among the younger generation of the Mu clan. However, Qin Feng didn't know that the two of them were trying to stop him. It wasn't until Mu Qing warned him to stay away from Mu Hanyu and Mu Hanqing that he realized that he had been shot while lying down. However, Qin Feng recalled that during this period of time he did walk a little closer to the two girls, but it was far from reaching that kind of intimate level. Mu Kuan had strong feelings for Mu Hanyu, and Mu Qing had strong feelings for Mu Hanqing. Therefore, the two of them reached a consensus and decided to join hands to teach Qin Feng a lesson. Qin Feng didn't have any thoughts about Mu Hanyu and Mu Hanqing. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he thought about the trouble brought to him. Although he didn't want to cause trouble, he wasn't afraid of it. Cousins, don't say that I don't have any thoughts about Sister Hanyu and Sister Hanqing. Even if I did, you have no right to interfere, right? Qin Feng said coldly. He was disgusted with this kind of behavior, so he didn't hold back with his words. Qin Feng, don't think that your tail can be raised to the sky just because you won the family competition. It's as easy as flipping my hand for me to deal with you. Mu Cheng was enraged when he thought of the scene where Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing were chatting happily. Why don't you give it a try? Although Qin Feng didn't have the confidence to face Mu Cheng, who was at the Second Order Peak Stage, he wasn't afraid. You. Mu Cheng was about to step forward and deal with Qin Feng, but he was stopped by Mu Kuan. Mu Kuan said with a smile, "Cousin Qin Feng, it's better to be humble. Don't be too harsh with your words. Can't you leave a way out for yourself?" "Thank you, Cousin Mu Kuan, for your guidance. I've learned a lot, but it doesn't seem appropriate for you to do this. If Sister Hanyu and Sister Hanqing knew about it, they wouldn't like it, right?" Qin Feng said with a faint smile. "What a sharp-tongued guy. I heard from Mu Li that you're crazy. Looking at you today, you're really crazy." Mu Qing looked at Qin Feng and cracked his knuckles. If it wasn't for Mu Kuan stopping him, he would have rushed up and beat Qin Feng up. Mu Kuan didn't expect Qin Feng to contradict him like this. He was the oldest among the younger generation in the Mu clan, and his strength was only inferior to Mu Hanyu. Among the younger generation who didn't respect him. But this brat in front of him didn't have any manners and even mocked him. Mu Kuan was instantly enraged. "Cousin Qin Feng is really courageous. but I don't know if my strength can keep up with this courage. Mu Kuan said with a gloomy face. What? Both of you want to fight me together? Qin Feng mocked. Mu Lian and Mu Yan couldn't be compared to these two people. If it was a one-on-one fight, he still had a chance to win. If the two of them joined forces, he definitely wouldn't be able to withstand 3 moves. Do I need cousin Mu Kuan to deal with you? I alone am enough. Mu Qing was so agitated that he was about to go crazy. If he didn't beat up this brat in front of him today, it would be hard to get rid of the hatred in his heart. However, Mu Kuan stopped him and didn't let him make a move. Cousin Qin Feng, you should go back and cultivate properly. There will be plenty of opportunities to spar in the future. Mu Kuan's gloomy face suddenly relaxed as he said faintly. Then take care of yourself. Qin Feng didn't pay attention to the two of them after he finished speaking and walked past them. Looking at Qin Feng's back, Mu Qing said, Brother Kuan, why don't you let me deal with him? In fact, Mu Qing called Mu Kuan to come here to support him. He was confident that he could deal with Qin Feng alone. After all, the latter was only a starry warrior at the early stage of the Second Order. Compared to him, Qin Feng was still a far cry. Unexpectedly, Mu Kuan stopped him and he didn't dare to go against Mu Kuan's will. Now he's a popular person in the clan. Dealing with him isn't a problem, but it will definitely cause the elders to scold him. He has 6 palaces and no concubines. The qualifiers for the young hero competition will be in 2 months. At that time we'll deal with him ruthlessly. Mu Kuan narrowed his eyes as he looked at Qin Feng's back and said softly, Okay, I just got a bottle of good wine. Do you want to taste it? Xieshur had already reached the transcendent realm. He already had a strong resistance to hunger and thirst. With the help of the energy of heaven and earth, he could even go a long time without eating or drinking. However, he was extremely fond of good wine. He had collected all kinds of good wine in his residence. Okay, it's settled then. Mu Huaizhi turned his head and said to Mu Qingda, Qingda, bring Qing and the others back first. I'll catch up with Grandmaster Xia. Yes. Mu Qingda said respectfully. Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing also followed Mu Qingda and the others back to the Mu residence. However, before they left, Xieshur's gaze paused on Qin Feng for a moment. After returning to the Mu residence, Qin Feng bade farewell to Mu Qingda, Mu Hanqing and the others. He quickly returned to his courtyard and closed the door. Then, with a thought, he took out 2 metal tokens from the void stone and quietly laid in his palm. When Mu Hanqing obtained the ancient era's metal plate from the auction house, she immediately gave it to Qin Feng. However, what surprised Qin Feng was that the rune in his palm didn't have any reaction. However, he still keenly felt that there was a faint connection between the rune and the 2 metal tokens. If it wasn't for his extraordinary perception, he might not have been able to feel it. Qin Feng looked at the 2 metal tokens and revealed a pondering expression. The rune in his palm was too mysterious. These 2 metal tokens were also items from the ancient era. He didn't know what was the connection between the two. However, he was certain that the origin of these 2 metal tokens was definitely not ordinary. At this moment an idea popped up in Qin Feng's mind. Let's test it with fire. He didn't dare to use the spirit-devouring demonic flame. This kind of strange flame had an extremely high temperature. If the metal tokens were burned into nothingness, he wouldn't be able to cry even if he wanted to. Qin Feng lit an oil lamp and fiddled with the wick. After making the flame bigger, he placed one of the metal tokens on the flame and started to roast it. However, Qin Feng's idea didn't seem to be very clever. After a long time, the metal token didn't have any reaction. Looking at the metal token that didn't have any reaction, Qin Feng gritted his teeth and summoned the spirit-devouring demonic flame. Under the control of Qin Feng's thoughts, the spirit-devouring demonic flame separated into a small flame. Although this flame was extremely small, its temperature was far from an ordinary flame. However, what surprised him was that the metal token didn't have any reaction under the burning of the flame. Qin Feng separated another flame and it was still the same. Then he separated another flame and the metal token was still the same. In the end, he helplessly discovered that even if he put the entire metal token into the spirit-devouring demonic flame, there was still no change, not even the slightest change. Qin Feng withdrew the spirit-devouring demonic flame and held the 2 metal tokens again. His eyes were filled with deep shock. The spirit-devouring demonic flame was a strange flame of heaven and earth. Even if it was a 3rd stage or a celestial expert, they wouldn't dare to use their body to resist it. As long as other objects touched it, they would be burned into nothingness. However, these 2 metal tokens didn't have any reaction under the burning of the spirit-devouring demonic flame. Qin Feng put the metal tokens into the void stone and shook his somewhat swollen head. He didn't want to think about this matter anymore. He believed that there would definitely be a chance to solve this mystery in the future. In the following days, Qin Feng resumed his normal cultivation. However, he didn't put his mind on his own cultivation. Instead, he focused on the cultivation of the profound spirit copper body technique and the blazing sun tyrannical technique. In the Mu family's courtyard, it was elegant and quiet. A young man's figure was sitting cross-legged on a huge rock that was about the height of a person. He didn't move at all, as if he was one with the rock. Around him, the power of the stars between heaven and earth was surging like water. Finally, following the suction force emitted by the young man's figure, it drilled into his body. The young man's delicate face looked clean and comfortable under the faint sunlight. His whole body was emitting a domineering and fierce aura. It was hard to imagine that this thin body actually had such a feeling of power. This kind of cultivation lasted for a full 4 hours. The figure's tightly closed eyes slowly opened. This young man was Qin Feng, who was cultivating diligently. Qin Feng jumped down from the huge rock and stood facing it. He took a deep breath and his whole body emitted a faint bronze luster. Under the bronze luster, a feeling of power was quietly emitted. Qin Feng clenched his right hand into a fist. He didn't use the power of the stars at all. Then, without any fancy moves, he punched the rock. Bang! The rock in front of Qin Feng didn't have the slightest change at first, but after a while, a crack suddenly appeared at the point where the fist landed. Following the appearance of this crack, more and more cracks appeared, densely spreading out like a spider web on the rock. Boom! As the number of cracks increased, the huge rock seemed to be unable to bear it anymore and instantly shattered into a pile of small rocks. The bronze luster on Qin Feng's body also slowly dissipated. His face revealed a trace of excitement. These days, Qin Feng had been painstakingly cultivating the profound spirit bronze body technique, and the results were pretty good. He had already reached the 6th layer. The effect of that punch made him extremely satisfied. However, although the profound spirit bronze body technique had reached the 6th layer, the 6th meridian of the blazing sun tyrant technique gave him a headache. He spent a tremendous amount of effort and only managed to open half of it. The 19 meridians of the blazing sun tyrant technique were harder to open as one progressed. When the power of the stars in his body attacked the blockage in the 6th meridian, it was like dripping water penetrating a stone. It took him a total of 20 days to open half of the meridian. Although he didn't practice his own cultivation, Qin Feng still felt that his cultivation had improved. Although the improvement wasn't very big, the feeling of a breakthrough was getting stronger and stronger. The second level of the lower level of the middle stage was close at hand. As for the blazing sun fist, Qin Feng was extremely proficient in it. Coupled with the blazing sun tyrant technique, its power was somewhat beyond his expectations. While Qin Feng was concentrating on his cultivation, the Mu clan's selection competition was also on schedule. This selection competition also attracted the attention of the entire clan. A vast sea of people gathered in the martial arts field. That scene made people's blood boil. The scale of this selection competition was much larger than the coming-of-age ceremony. After all, the coming-of-age ceremony was only for 16-year-old boys and girls. This selection competition was aimed at the entire younger generation of the Mu clan. On the high platform of the martial arts field, all the upper echelons of the clan were seated. Other than the patriarch Mu Qianlang and the inner pavilion elder Mu Ziwu, all the upper echelons of the Mu clan were present. Mu Huaizhi, who didn't appear in the coming-of-age ceremony, was sitting in the middle of the high platform. He was chatting with Mu Yuntang and Mu Chuandao. The major forces of Soaring Dragon City weren't invited to watch the selection competition this time. After all, it was important to conceal one's strength. Qin Feng, who was at the scene, was shocked by the sea of people. He didn't expect the clan to place such importance on this selection. Qin Feng, how are your preparations? It seems that you have been training very hard during this period of time. Mu Hanqing patted Qin Feng's shoulder from behind. The sunlight shone on her charming cheeks, making her look incomparably delicate and charming. It's okay. How about you? Qin Feng laughed hollowly. He didn't know why, but every time he met Mu Hanqing he would feel awkward. On the contrary, Mu Hanqing seemed to have let go of the knot in her heart and was able to face Qin Feng calmly. Chapter 319. How much? Qin Feng weighed the sword tip and said indifferently. 20,000 mystic coins. The shop assistant said with a face full of smiles. What, 20,000 mystic coins? Although this was a spirit treasure from thousands of years ago, it was only a sword tip after all. It didn't have any spirituality, so it could only be kept as a collection. Although Qin Feng could take out 20,000 mystic coins, it made him feel like he was being cheated. Young Master Mu, our appraiser, said that this sword tip has a long history and should have some extraordinary aspects. The shop assistant explained. Taking out most of the mystic coins from the void stone, Qin Feng threw it to the shop assistant with a bit of heartache. He put the sword tip into the void stone and said, "You guys really know how to do business, such a small sword tip for 20,000 mystic coins." If it wasn't for the reaction of the rune in his hand, Qin Feng might not have been willing to buy this sword tip. Qin Feng was about to leave when a person said, "Brother, please wait." Qin Feng turned around and 3 young men came to his side. One of them looked to be around 18 or 19 years old, with a tall and straight figure and a slightly handsome appearance. He was dressed in luxurious clothes, and from his appearance, one could tell that he was a rich family's son. The other 2 looked to be around 18 or 19 years old and wore green robes. They should be the former's followers. "Brother, you are?" Qin Feng saw that the luxuriously dressed young master was very polite and asked with cupped fists. Without waiting for the luxuriously dressed young master to answer, one of the green-robed men said, "Our young master is the young master of the Green Wolf Gang, Song Ping." "Oh, I wonder why young master Song called me?" Qin Feng was also a bit puzzled and asked back. "I wonder if you can transfer the sword tip to me. I'm willing to pay 50,000 mystic coins." Song Ping was still full of smiles. He also saw that Qin Feng had some background and didn't want to offend him easily. "I'm sorry, young Master Song, I'm also very interested in that sword tip, so I can't transfer it to you," Qin Feng said indifferently. The green-robed man seemed to have a bad temper and immediately roared, "Brat, you really don't know how to appreciate favors. Our young master is willing to pay 50,000 mystic coins and you're still not willing, you're courting death." Qin Feng's face darkened and his eyes shot out a cold light as he stared at the green-robed man. The other green-robed man didn't say anything and just quietly watched everything that happened in front of him. Song Ping bellowed, "Peng Ming, what are you doing?" Peng Ming also fiercely glared at Qin Feng and resentfully returned to stand behind Song Ping. Song Ping laughed softly and said, "Apologies, I've made a fool of myself in front of you. It's just that I like to collect strange things and I happen to be interested in the sword tip. I hope you can part with it. I'm sorry, it's really hard for me to agree. Farewell." After Qin Feng spoke, he wasn't willing to be entangled any longer. He turned and left. Peng Ming was just about to rush up and deal with Qin Feng when Song Ping stretched out his hand to stop him. Looking at Qin Feng's departing back, a trace of malice flashed in his eyes. "Find out more about this brat for me. I'll deal with him when I have the chance." Qin Feng walked out of the market square and shook his head with a bitter smile. This marketplace seemed to be an ominous place for him. The first time he had inexplicably offended young Master Zheng of Bright Moon Hall, and this time he had offended young Master Song of the Green Wolf Gang. It seemed that it would be better for him to come to this marketplace less in the future. Just as he was about to return to the Mu clan, he heard the passers-by discussing something. Qin Feng heard the words, "tomorrow," and "auction" the most. After listening for a while, Qin Feng finally got a rough idea. It turned out that they were discussing the large-scale auction held by Hidden Treasure Pavilion tomorrow. It was said to be the largest auction in Tianfeng Prefecture in the past 10 years, and the 4 major forces would send people to participate. It was said that there would be plenty of good things at the auction, and there were even rumors that there would be black-rank inferior quality star techniques for sale. Black-rank inferior quality star techniques were very tempting. In the Fire Dragon Dynasty, black-rank inferior quality star techniques were extremely rare and could be regarded as the treasures of the second-rate forces. He didn't expect to see them up for sale at this auction. Needless to say, if there were really black-rank inferior quality star techniques up for auction, they would definitely be the focus of everyone's attention. However, Qin Feng didn't take the auction to heart. After buying the sword tip just now, he had already depleted his assets. Besides, even if he counted all his assets, he probably wouldn't be able to match up to 1,000th of what others had. If he were to go to the auction, he probably wouldn't be able to get anything. However, Qin Feng wanted to go and take a look. After all, the items up for auction should be some extraordinary items in the entire Tianfeng Prefecture. When Qin Feng returned to the Mu clan, he didn't go straight to the courtyard where he lived. Instead, he went straight to the pharmacy. "Elder Mu, how is it?" Seeing that Elder Mu Huagong was still sitting there and reading the thick pharmacopoeia, Qin Feng asked anxiously. Mu Huagong looked at him and smiled. He took out 2 small jade bottles from the void stone, placed them on the counter and pushed them to Qin Feng. Qin Feng grabbed them and opened the 2 small jade bottles eagerly. A rich fragrance immediately wafted out. There were 3 pills in each small jade bottle. They were the Pure Yang pill and the Treasure Lotus pill, which were refined using Pure Yang mysterious grass and Treasure Rock water lotus. They were 5th-grade pills. Not only did they contain vigorous star power, but they also had a certain healing effect. Qin Feng looked at the 2 small jade bottles and grinned. He then put them into the void stone. Of course, with Qin Feng's current cultivation, if he took these pills, his body might not be able to take them. He would have to wait until he reached the peak of the 2nd rank before he could take them. Old rules. Mu Huagong said lightly. Qin Feng knew what he meant by old rules. Spiritual herbs could only be used to their fullest potential after being refined into pills by an alchemist. However, there was a certain chance of failure in this refinement. If the refinement failed, then the spiritual herbs would be wasted. If the refinement was successful, the alchemist would charge a certain fee. The specific fee was different for each alchemist. Mu Huagong's fee was not money, but 40% of the pills. In other words, if 5 pills were refined, he would charge 2. If it was an ordinary alchemist, the fee would be high. However, for Mu Huagong it wasn't high at all. After all, his alchemy skills were well known in the entire Yanlong dynasty. Moreover, the effect of 2 pills refined by Mu Huagong was basically the same as the spiritual herbs themselves. Therefore, Qin Feng didn't lose out at all. Beautiful brother has a bet. Looking at the situation, the Treasured Rock Water Lotus and Pure Yang Mysterious Grass had each refined 5 pills. Before giving them to Qin Feng, Mu Huagong had already taken out 2 pills each. Thank you, Elder Mu. Qin Feng thanked Mu Huagong and smiled at him. Then he bid farewell and left. What a lucky guy. Mu Huagong looked at Qin Feng's back and said with a smile. When Qin Feng took out the 2 spiritual herbs, Mu Huagong was amazed. He had seen a lot of 5th-grade spiritual herbs, but Pure Yang Mysterious Grass and Treasure Rock Lotus were rare herbs. However, Qin Feng was able to get both of them. He couldn't help but sigh. After leaving the elixir room, Qin Feng walked towards his courtyard. After all, the young hero competition only lasted for a month. If he wanted to enter the Star Power Room, he had to be on the list of 5. However, it wasn't as easy as he thought. In the younger generation of the clan, there were many crouching tigers and hidden dragons. If he became arrogant just because he won the coming-of-age ceremony, then he would be too short-sighted. However, when Qin Feng arrived at the entrance of his courtyard, he saw a beautiful figure waiting there. Han Qing. Qin Feng was a little confused. Why was this little girl looking for him? Could it be that she was still brooding over the matter of him fixing her bone and wanted to take revenge on him? Thinking about the rumors of pranks, Qin Feng shuddered. What's wrong? Are you afraid that I will eat you? Mu Hanqing looked at Qin Feng's appearance and couldn't help but laugh. A bright smile appeared on her delicate face. Qin Feng couldn't help but take a second look at her. Shoo. Booze came from the auction house. No one expected that the first item of such a large-scale auction would be an iron plate that even the auctioneer didn't know what it was. Everyone listen to me. This iron plate has been appraised by Great Master Xie. It is an ancient item that has existed for a long time. Even though its exact usage isn't clear, it should have some extraordinary uses. The starting bid is 150,000 cultivation coins. Each increment must not be less than 10,000 cultivation coins, Yao Li hurriedly said. Boom. The auction house suddenly exploded like a pot of boiling water, and sounds of discussion could be heard. Hidden Treasure Pavilion must have gone crazy over money. Such an unknown iron plate is actually priced at 150,000 cultivation coins. You can't say that. Didn't you hear? This is a treasure that has been appraised by Great Master Xie. Even though we don't know what it is used for, we might discover that it is a treasure after we buy it. Forget it. 150,000 cultivation coins can buy 10 stalks of grade 3 spiritual herbs. Han Qing, can you bid for this iron plate? I have a use for it, Qin Feng whispered to Mu Hanqing. Qin Feng looked at the iron plate and revealed a covetous expression. However, he couldn't take out 150,000 cultivation coins. How could he bid for it? Therefore, he could only ask Mu Hanqing for help. What do you want this iron plate for? Mu Hanqing was puzzled and curious. Nothing much. My intuition tells me that this iron plate is different from the rest. Qin Feng naturally wouldn't tell her about the runes. Therefore, he could only make up an excuse. All right then. Mu Hanqing nodded her head. In any case, 150,000 cultivation coins was just some pocket money to her. Who asked her to have a grandfather who was in charge of the accounts? 150,000 cultivation coins. Just as Mu Hanqing and Qin Feng were whispering to each other, someone had already bid. The bidder was a middle-aged man in the hall. From the looks of it, he was also willing to spend money to see if he could get a treasure. Alright, 150,000 cultivation coins. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Yao Li heaved a sigh of relief when he saw someone bid. Initially, he didn't agree with placing the iron plate as the first item. However, for some unknown reason, Great Master Xieshe insisted on doing so. If no one bid, it would be awkward. If news of the auction's first item being unsold spread, it would be extremely embarrassing. 160,000 cultivation coins, 170,000 cultivation coins. Seeing that someone had actually bid, the others seemed to be infected as they all shouted out their bids. Hundreds of thousands of cultivation coins was nothing to the majority of them. After all, those who were able to pay the entrance fee of 1,000 cultivation coins were either wealthy or respectable. They didn't care about these hundreds of thousands of cultivation coins. The person who had once said that he would rather buy 10 stalks of third-grade spirit herbs than buy the iron plate also called out a price of 180,000 cultivation coins. However, this price was raised to 200,000 cultivation coins in the next second. 250,000 cultivation coins. A voice that was as pleasant as a brook resounded through the entire hall. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and discovered that the one who called out the bid was a pretty young girl from the VIP seats. That young girl was Mu Hanqing, who was encouraged by Qin Feng to bid for the iron plate. "Hanqing, what are you doing?" Mu Qingda glanced at Mu Hanqing and asked in a low voice. "Uncle Da, just bid for it and play with it. It's not expensive anyway." Mu Hanqing used her trump card against Mu Qingda. Mu Qingda felt somewhat helpless. However, it was fortunate that the price wasn't too expensive. Thus he tacitly agreed. Seeing that the Mu clan had made a move, the crowd in the hall didn't continue to bid. No one was willing to offend the Mu clan for a piece of broken iron plate. 250,000 cultivation coins. "Is there anyone else?" Yao Li asked. He was already quite satisfied with this price. This iron plate could be auctioned for 250,000 cultivation coins. It was quite a good price. 250,000 cultivation coins, going once. 250,000 cultivation coins, going twice. 260,000 cultivation coins. Just when Yao Li was about to call out the bid, another voice resounded. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and discovered that it was Bright Moon Hall's Zheng Jian. Qin Feng also looked towards Zheng Jian with a trace of coldness flashing through his eyes. Just when he was about to get the iron plate, he didn't expect that Zheng Jian would interrupt him halfway. Zheng Jian also looked towards Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing with a trace of ridicule on his face. He saw that Mu Hanqing and Qin Feng had been whispering for a long time. Thus, he wanted to make things difficult for them. From the looks of it, he had achieved his goal. Song Ping, who was standing at the back, also shouted happily. He also didn't like Qin Feng. Originally, he also wanted to make a bid to discuss Qin Feng. However, the Green Wolf gang was in Soaring Dragon City and they still had to rely on the Mu clan. Thus, Song Ping didn't have the guts to bid. Now that Zheng Jian came out to make trouble for Qin Feng, he felt very happy. Zheng Jian didn't have Song Ping's misgivings. With the Wind and Cloud sect supporting him, he didn't fear the Mu clan. Mu Qingda's expression was somewhat unsightly. Although this was just a competition between the younger generation, it also represented the actions of the two major powers. Zheng Jian was slapping the Mu clan's face this time. 270,000 cultivation coins. Mu Hanqing didn't show any signs of weakness and immediately called out a higher price. 280,000 cultivation coins. Zheng Jian followed up. 300,000 cultivation coins. 350,000 cultivation coins. Everyone present didn't know whether to laugh or cry. As expected of the four major powers, each of them was rich and overbearing. The younger generation of the two major powers actually called out a price of several 100,000 cultivation coins for a piece of broken iron plate. This was probably what it meant to throw away 1,000 gold coins. 1 million cultivation coins. Zheng Jian suddenly raised the price to a terrifying level. What are they doing? Could it be that this iron plate is really a treasure? It doesn't look like it. Why do I feel that they are competing with their wealth? Sure enough, they are rich and overbearing. Awesome. Everyone in the hall looked at Zheng Jian and Mu Hanqing as they discussed in low voices. Yao Li's face revealed a brilliant smile. He didn't expect that the first item would be auctioned for 1 million cultivation coins. Such a fiery scene was exactly what he wanted to see. However, he also believed that Zheng Jian and Mu Hanqing were competing with their wealth because this iron plate wasn't even worth 1 million cultivation coins in everyone's eyes. Mu Hanqing didn't expect that Jing Jian would actually call out a price of 1 million cultivation coins. She slightly frowned and tilted her head to look at Mu Qingde. The latter looked at her with a calm expression and slightly nodded his head. Chapter 320. Very quickly, the star energy in Qin Feng's body showed signs of exhaustion under this bombardment. However, he did not panic. Instead, he took out a Star Force pill and threw it into his mouth. The Star Force pellet's pure Star Force energy immediately spread out, replenishing the Star Force in Qin Feng's body. Under the replenishment, the Star Force torrent grew stronger and started to attack the blocked meridians again. This process lasted for a full 6 hours, and after consuming 3 strength of the star's pills, the young man's body emitted a shocking sound. The strength of the stars had finally broken through the blockage, and the fiery strength of the stars filled his meridians. Along with the opening of the 5th meridian, the astral energy in Qin Feng's body quietly became more resplendent under the circulation of the blazing sun tyrannical art. The tyrannical and ferocious aura seemed to have become denser. Who? The youth slowly opened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of turbid air. Only then did he wipe off the sweat on his head. A trace of joy flashed in his eyes. With the opening of the 5th meridian, he could clearly feel that the strength in his body had increased. If he were to face the one-horned windwolf again, he wouldn't have to fight so hard anymore. Although the later meridians of the blazing sun tyrannical art were getting harder to open, Qin Feng could feel his strength increasing with every meridian that was opened. Moreover, the degree of increase was getting bigger. The blazing sun tyrannical art was only the first part of the blazing sun tyrannical art, and it already displayed such strength. Who knew how strong the second and third parts would be? Qin Feng revealed a trace of curiosity. However, the thing that Qin Feng wanted to do the most now was to be one of the 5 participants in the Young Heroes competition. Because only by becoming one of the 5 participants could he enter the clan's Star Force room to cultivate. The Star Force there should be enough for him to open the next few meridians. However, the difficulty of being one of the 5 participants wasn't small. Mu Hanyu and Mu Kuan were both at the peak of the second order. There were also more than 10 youths at the peak of the second order. These youths had abundant cultivation resources from the clan and were also rewarded with some spirit treasures. Their battle strength couldn't be underestimated. Thinking of the spirit treasure, Qin Feng sighed again. He did not have a single spirit treasure, and with his financial strength, it was impossible for him to buy a spirit treasure. It would be great if I could become a soul master. I would be able to refine any spirit treasure I want. Qin Feng fantasized in his heart, and he could not help but reveal a trace of a smile on his face. Qin Feng had also made up his mind to look for Master Xia one day and see if he had the talent. Qin Feng once again summoned out the spirit-devouring devil flame. Ever since he had advanced to the second order, he had the star energy to temper his body. The spirit-devouring devil flame's tempering effect had weakened by a lot. Qin Feng would often find some hidden places to study the spirit-devouring devil flame. He knew that the black flame evil dominator in the astral wind demon sealing array must be very familiar with and understand the spirit-swallowing devil flame. He should also have some flame-controlling techniques in his hands. Although he coveted the item in the hands of the black flame evil dominator, he did not dare to release the black flame evil dominator. With his strength in front of the black flame evil dominator, dying 10,000 times was not enough. Therefore, Qin Feng could only rely on himself to slowly explore and discover the use of the spirit-devouring devil flame. After this period of practice, his control of the spirit-devouring devil flame had become a lot more proficient. He could divide the spirit-devouring devil flame into several small fireballs and use his thoughts to control them to attack from a distance. After using the spirit-devouring devil flame to attack, the spirit-devouring devil flame would be weakened. However, Qin Feng discovered that there was a wisp of black flame within the spirit-devouring devil flame. Its color was deeper and hotter. As long as he poured the star energy into it for it to absorb, the spirit-devouring devil flame would recover its vitality. Qin Feng did not know that the wisp of black flame was the flame source of the spirit-devouring devil flame. As long as the flame source was not damaged, the spirit-devouring devil flame would not be extinguished. Because the star energy needed to recover after using the spirit-devouring devil flame was too large, Qin Feng did not dare to use the spirit-devouring devil flame too much for experimental attacks. He would only use the spirit-devouring devil flame to verify his conjectures. The spirit-devouring devil flame was known as the rare flame of heaven and earth. Naturally, it was not limited to being used as a fireball to attack from a distance. However, this rare flame of heaven and earth had a certain requirement for the controller's strength. If the controller was too weak, the spirit-devouring devil flame would not be able to display its effects. Obviously, Qin Feng belonged to this category of people whose strength was too weak. With his current strength, even if he knew the effects of the spirit-devouring devil flame, he would not be able to display the power of this rare flame of heaven and earth. Qin Feng studied the spirit-devouring devil flame for a while but did not make any progress. He helplessly kept the spirit-devouring devil flame back into his body. After another half an hour of meditation to recover the star energy in his body, Qin Feng rushed towards the exit of the Sunset Mountain range. He did not want to be the last person to reach the destination. After another 5 or 6 days, Qin Feng finally caught up with the majority of the clan disciples. He even surpassed them. I should be ahead of the majority of people now. I should be able to reach the exit earlier. Qin Feng secretly estimated his own position in his heart and once again hurried towards the exit of the mountain range. Suddenly he stopped in his tracks. He opened his eyes wide and looked at the forest in the distance. A beautiful young girl wearing yellow clothes was lying there with her eyes closed. Dark red blood flowed down from her chest and dyed her yellow clothes red. Her pale face showed that she was seriously injured. Han Qing. Qin Feng recognized this young girl. Who else could it be other than Mu Hanqing? Qin Feng hurriedly rushed in front of Mu Hanqing and discovered that there was a deep claw mark on her chest. Fresh blood was seeping out from the claw mark. Hanqing, wake up. Qin Feng called out softly. At this moment, Mu Hanqing opened her eyes slightly. When she saw that the person in front of her was Qin Feng, she felt slightly relieved. She weakly said, "Little pervert, why are you here? If I didn't come you would have died." Qin Feng said as he gently carried Mu Hanqing out from the forest. When Qin Feng's palm gently wrapped around the back of Mu Hanqing's neck and knees, Mu Hanqing's body trembled slightly. She had never had such intimate contact with a man in her life. Qin Feng also felt a wave of tenderness and smoothness coming from his palm. Her slender and snow-white neck, her tender and white calves, and the faint body fragrance emitted from the young girl's body made Qin Feng's breathing slightly heavier. Mu Hanqing also noticed the slight change in Qin Feng. Her face became incomparably hot. Qin Feng gently bit the tip of his tongue and suppressed his messy thoughts. He found a relatively flat area and placed Mu Hanqing against a tree. "Hanqing, are you able to apply the medicine yourself?" Qin Feng took out a few bottles of elixirs from the void stone and placed them on the ground. He first fed Mu Hanqing 2 healing elixirs before asking. Mu Hanqing struggled for a moment before a sharp pain assaulted her. She didn't have any strength left in her body. She gently shook her head and gritted her teeth. "Little pervert. I can't move." Shoo. Waves of boos came from the auction house. No one expected that the first auction item in such a large-scale auction would be an iron plate that even the auctioneer didn't know what it was. "Everyone listen to me. This iron plate has been appraised by Grandmaster Xie. It belongs to the ancient era and has existed for a very long time. Although we don't know its exact usage, it should have some extraordinary uses. The starting bid is 150,000 cultivation coins. Each increment must not be less than 10,000 cultivation coins." Yao Li hastily said. Boom. The auction house suddenly exploded like a pot of boiling water, and sounds of discussion could be heard. Is the Hidden Treasure Pavilion crazy about money? Such an unknown small iron plate actually costs 150,000 cultivation coins. You can't say it like that. Didn't you hear? This is a treasure that has been appraised by Grandmaster Xie. Although we don't know what it is used for, we might discover that it is a treasure after we buy it. Forget it. 150,000 cultivation coins can buy 10 stalks of third-grade spirit herbs. Hanqing, can you bid for this iron plate? I have a use for it. Qin Feng whispered to Mu Hanqing. Qin Feng looked at the iron plate and revealed a covetous expression. However, he couldn't take out 150,000 cultivation coins. How could he bid for it? Therefore, he could only ask Mu Hanqing for help. What do you want this iron plate for? Mu Hanqing was puzzled and curious. Nothing much. It's just that my intuition tells me that this iron plate is somewhat different. Qin Feng naturally wouldn't tell her about the runes. Therefore he could only make up an excuse. All right. Mu Hanqing nodded her head. In any case, 150,000 cultivation coins was just some pocket money to her. Who asked her to have a grandfather who was in charge of the accounts? 150,000 cultivation coins. Just as Mu Hanqing and Qin Feng were whispering to each other, someone had already made a bid. The bidder was a middle-aged man in the hall. From the looks of it, he was also willing to spend money to see if he could find a treasure. Alright, 150,000 cultivation coins. Is there anyone else? Yao Li heaved a sigh of relief when he saw someone making a bid. Initially, he didn't agree with placing the iron plate as the first item. However, for some unknown reason, Grandmaster Xiesher insisted on doing so. If no one made a bid, it would be awkward. If news of the auction's first item being unsold spread, it would be extremely embarrassing. 160,000 cultivation coins. 170,000 cultivation coins. Seeing that someone had actually made a bid, the others seemed to have been infected as they all shouted out their bids. 150,000 cultivation coins wasn't much to the majority of them. After all, those who were able to pay 1,000 cultivation coins were either wealthy or respectable. They didn't care about this 150,000 cultivation coins. The person who once said that he would rather buy 10 stalks of third-grade spiritual herbs than to buy the iron plate also called out a bid of 180,000 cultivation coins. However, this bid was raised to 200,000 cultivation coins in the next second. 250,000 cultivation coins. A pleasant voice that was like a small stream resounded throughout the entire hall. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and discovered that the one who called out the bid was a pretty young girl in the VIP seats. That young girl was Mu Hanqing, who was encouraged by Qin Feng to bid for the iron plate. "Hanqing, what are you doing?" Mu Qingda glanced at Mu Hanqing and asked softly. "Uncle De, bid for it and play with it. It's not expensive anyway." Mu Hanqing used her trump card against Mu Qingda. Mu Qingda felt somewhat helpless. However, it was fortunate that the price wasn't too expensive. Thus he tacitly agreed. Seeing that the Mu clan had made a bid, the crowd in the hall didn't raise the bid. No one had the need to offend the Mu clan for a piece of broken iron plate. 250,000 cultivation coins. Is there anyone else? Yao Li asked. He was already quite satisfied with this price. A piece of iron plate like this could be auctioned for 250,000 cultivation coins. It was quite a good price. 250,000 cultivation coins, going once. 250,000 cultivation coins, going twice. 260,000 cultivation coins. Just when Yao Li was about to call out the bid, another voice rang out. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and discovered that it was Bright Moon Hall's Zheng Jian. Qin Feng also looked towards Zheng Jian with a trace of chilliness in his eyes. Seeing that the iron plate was about to be in his hands, he didn't expect Zheng Jian to interfere halfway. Zheng Jian also looked towards Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing with a trace of ridicule on his face. He saw that Mu Hanqing and Qin Feng had been whispering for a long time. Thus, he wanted to make things difficult for them. From the looks of it, he had achieved his goal. Song Ping, who was at the back, also shouted happily. He didn't feel good looking at Qin Feng. Originally, he also wanted to make a bid to discuss Qin Feng. However, the Green Wolf gang was in Soaring Dragon City and they still had to rely on the Mu clan. Thus, Song Ping didn't have the guts to make a bid. Now that Zheng Jian came out to make trouble for Qin Feng, he felt very happy. Zheng Jian didn't have Song Ping's misgivings. With the Wind and Cloud sect supporting him, he didn't fear the Mu clan. Mu Qingda's expression was somewhat unsightly. Although this was just a competition between the younger generation, it also represented the actions of the two major powers. Zheng Jian was slapping the Mu clan's face. 270,000 cultivation coins. Mu Hanqing didn't show any weakness and immediately called out a higher price. 280,000 cultivation coins. Zheng Jian followed up. 300,000 cultivation coins. 350,000 cultivation coins. Everyone present didn't know whether to laugh or cry. As expected of the four major powers, each of them was rich and overbearing. The younger generation of the two major powers actually called out a price of several 100,000 cultivation coins for a piece of broken iron plate. This was probably what it meant to throw away 1,000 gold coins. 1,000,000 cultivation coins. Zheng Jian immediately raised the price to a terrifying level. What are they doing? Could it be that this iron plate is really a treasure? It doesn't look like it. Why do I feel that they are competing with their wealth? They are indeed rich and overbearing. Amazing. Everyone in the hall looked at Zheng Jian and Mu Hanqing as they discussed in low voices. Yao Li's face revealed a brilliant smile. He didn't expect that the first item would be auctioned for a high price of 1,000,000 cultivation coins. Such a fiery scene was exactly what he wanted to see. However, he also believed that Zheng Jian and Mu Hanqing were competing with their wealth because this iron plate wasn't worth 1,000,000 cultivation coins in everyone's eyes. Mu Hanqing didn't expect that Zheng Jian would actually call out a price of 1,000,000 cultivation coins. She frowned and tilted her head to look at Mu Qingda. The latter looked at her with a calm expression and nodded slightly. With Mu Qingda's support, Mu Hanqing was full of confidence and called out a price that shocked everyone present. 2 million cultivation coins. Boom! The entire hall was silent at first. Then it became noisy like a group of headless flies. Everyone's face revealed a trace of excitement. No one expected to encounter such a fiery scene at the beginning of the auction. The atmosphere of the auction hall was completely stirred up. Chapter 321. While he was hesitating, Qin Feng looked at the little spirit medicine monkey's anxious appearance and followed it again. He didn't know why, but he was filled with trust towards this little spirit medicine monkey. Qin Feng's intuition told him that this little spirit medicine monkey didn't have any bad intentions. After passing through the forest several times, what appeared in front of Qin Feng was an open space. A mountain stream slowly flowed past, and at the end of the mountain stream there was a valley. The valley entrance was extremely narrow, and between the valley entrance, there were overgrown branches and piles of rocks, making it seem rather hidden. The valley was filled with a thin layer of smoke, and there were faint waves of miserable roars. Listening to the sound, it was like a monkey's cry. The little spirit medicine monkey suddenly stopped, turned around and looked at Qin Feng. It used its front paw to point at the valley and nodded, indicating Qin Feng to follow it in. Qin Feng hesitated again. If he were to encounter any danger in this mountain range, he would definitely be able to escape. But in this mountain valley the situation was unclear. Furthermore, the entrance of this mountain valley was extremely narrow. If there were any abnormal situations, it would be extremely difficult to escape. When the little spirit medicine monkey saw that Qin Feng had stopped moving forward, it squeaked again. There was a hint of pleading in its eyes. Its whole body actually lay down, and it put its two front paws together and waved at Qin Feng. Qin Feng could see that this little spirit medicine monkey was like a human, kowtowing and begging him. Its mournful voice made one's heart ache. Qin Feng looked at the little spirit medicine monkey's appearance, and his heart felt somewhat uncomfortable. Finally, he made up his mind to enter the valley to investigate. After entering the valley, Qin Feng suddenly had a feeling of being enlightened. Although the valley entrance was extremely narrow, after entering the valley, he discovered that there was a different world inside the valley. The entire valley was filled with mist, the trees were lush, and the fragrance of flowers drifted far away. It was like a fairyland. However, waves of miserable monkey cries completely disrupted this beautiful scenery. The little spirit medicine monkey also brought Qin Feng and rushed towards the direction of the monkey cries. However, it still didn't dare to get close to Qin Feng and kept a certain distance from him. Qin Feng followed the little spiritual medicine monkey and turned a few corners. However, he found that under one of the cliffs of the valley, there was a huge rock. Under the huge rock there was a huge figure. Blood had already dyed the ground nearby red. Qin Feng took a closer look. That figure was actually an adult spiritual medicine monkey. However, half of the adult spiritual medicine monkey's body was pressed down by the huge rock. Perhaps because it had lost too much blood, it was on the verge of death. However, it was still letting out mournful cries. The little spiritual medicine monkey looked at the big spiritual medicine monkey and a sad expression appeared on its face. Then it looked at Qin Feng pitifully and squeaked. Qin Feng understood what it meant. It hoped that Qin Feng could save the big spiritual medicine monkey. The spiritual medicine monkey was different from other monkeys. They usually lived alone. They would only be together in pairs when they mated. After the mother monkey gave birth to the baby monkey, she would leave with the baby monkey alone. This strange way of life may have something to do with their nature. If they chose to live in groups like other monkeys, they might not be able to find enough elixirs for their survival. It was obvious that these two monkeys were mother and son or mother and daughter. However, it was unknown why this spiritual medicine monkey was being suppressed by the boulder. Qin Feng took a look at the cliff above the huge rock and suddenly realized something. Above the cliff there were green vines. In the area covered by the green vines, there was a cave entrance that was about the size of the boulder. That cave entrance was about 500 feet from the bottom of the valley. Qin Feng guessed that the big spiritual medicine monkey wanted to enter the cave and wanted to move the boulder at the entrance. However, it was careless and was pressed down by the boulder. Looking at the boulder, it was several feet tall, long and wide. Its weight was estimated to be several 100,000 pounds. Even a rank 3 expert would find it hard to bear such a weight. Looking at the big spiritual medicine monkey, it was at most a rank 3 monster. If it wasn't for the abnormal physique of a monster, it probably wouldn't have survived. Qin Feng arrived in front of the boulder. He secretly circulated his chi and pushed it with all his strength. Unexpectedly, the boulder didn't move at all. After all, Qin Feng was only a rank 2 peak warrior. It was still difficult for him to move this several 100,000-pound boulder. Qin Feng looked at the little spiritual medicine monkey and shrugged his shoulders. He spread out his hands, indicating that there was nothing he could do. The little spiritual medicine monkey looked at Qin Feng and knelt down again. It clasped its front paws and squeaked. Its voice was hoarse and mournful, making people who heard it feel sad. The big spiritual medicine monkey looked at Qin Feng and also cried out in grief. The intelligence of monkeys wasn't low, let alone this kind of monster beast. Their emotions were very similar to humans. Therefore, the two monkeys' miserable appearance made Qin Feng feel very uncomfortable. However, with Qin Feng's strength, it was basically impossible for him to move this boulder. However, after he glanced at his void stone, he finally looked at the spirit-swallowing demonic flame in his body. The spirit-swallowing demonic flame was a special flame of heaven and earth. It had an extremely high temperature. This kind of boulder should also be able to melt, Qin Feng guessed. Qin Feng's mind moved. The spirit-swallowing demonic flame wrapped around his right palm. Then, his palm turned into a blade and chopped at the boulder. Under the high temperature of the spirit-swallowing demonic flame, Qin Feng's right palm left a deep mark on the boulder like a knife cutting through tofu. Got it? Qin Feng secretly rejoiced. When the little spirit medicine monkey saw this scene, it was so happy that it squeaked. Qin Feng used the blazing sun tyrant technique. The star energy in his body also turned into a torrent and entered his dantian for the spirit-swallowing demonic flame to absorb. Then he moved the spirit-swallowing demonic flame to his right palm and cut the boulder near the big spiritual medicine monkey. Qin Feng wanted to cut a hole in this boulder and then rescue the big spiritual medicine monkey. This kind of cutting was not easy for Qin Feng. Firstly, using the spirit-swallowing demonic flame consumed a lot of star energy. Even if it was as strong as the blazing sun tyrant technique, it was still a bit difficult to bear. Secondly, Qin Feng had to be careful. Because if he wasn't careful, the big spiritual medicine monkey would be burned by the spirit-swallowing demonic flame and even be burned into nothingness. After cutting for a while, Qin Feng's forehead was covered with sweat. His clothes were also drenched in sweat. The star energy in his body also began to show signs of exhaustion. Qin Feng didn't hesitate at all. He took out a star strength pill from the void stone and threw it into his mouth. The star strength pill turned into pure star energy and continued to pour into his dantian, allowing Qin Feng to use the spirit-swallowing demonic flame. After an hour of careful work and after consuming 3 star force pills, Qin Feng finally cut a hole of about 1 meter in diameter on the huge rock. He then carefully moved the big monkey out of the hole. Seeing that the big spiritual medicine monkey was rescued, the little spiritual medicine monkey was so excited that it kept squeaking. However, it didn't dare to come over. It kept looking at Qin Feng and the big spiritual medicine monkey from afar. Qin Feng looked at the big spiritual medicine monkey's injuries. Luckily, there was a small dent in the place where the big spiritual medicine monkey was crushed. Only its 2 hind legs were badly mangled. However, the injuries weren't as serious as he imagined. Qin Feng took out 3 recovery pills and gave them to the big spiritual medicine monkey. The big spiritual medicine monkey looked at Qin Feng gratefully. Without the slightest hesitation, it took the recovery pills. It seemed that Qin Feng's actions had completely won the big spiritual medicine monkey's trust. Qin Feng then helped the big spiritual medicine monkey clean its wounds. He applied some medicinal powder on it and took out some clean cloth to bandage it. In his previous life, Qin Feng was a Chinese medicine intern. He was very familiar with this kind of work. He didn't bring any pain to the big spiritual medicine monkey. After Qin Feng finished all of this, he finally smiled comfortably and said, "Okay, it's okay now. It'll probably recover in a month. Although there might be some sequelae, it shouldn't be a big problem." The big spiritual medicine monkey seemed to understand Qin Feng's words. It nodded and squeaked a few times. Qin Feng looked at its expression and guessed that it had some meaning of gratitude. The big spiritual medicine monkey stretched out its front paw and waved at the little spiritual medicine monkey. The little spiritual medicine monkey looked at the big spiritual medicine monkey and then looked at Qin Feng. It hesitated for a moment and then slowly walked over. The 2 spiritual medicine monkeys used their front paws to bow to Qin Feng and squeaked a few times. Their squeaks were filled with gratitude. Qin Feng patted the dust off his body and said with a smile, "Okay, since it's okay now, I should go." However, when he turned around and was about to leave, he found that the big spiritual medicine monkey had grabbed him with its front paw and squeaked a few times. Qin Feng looked at the big spiritual medicine monkey in confusion. The big spiritual medicine monkey looked at him and then pointed at the cave on the cliff and squeaked a few more times. "Are you telling me to go in?" Qin Feng asked doubtfully. The big spiritual medicine monkey nodded. However, Qin Feng was somewhat hesitant. This cave on the cliff did not look simple. Moreover, it was sealed with a huge rock. It was obviously not natural. It must have been man-made. To be able to do this, it was obviously not a mediocre person. If it was like last time in the cave on Luotian Peak and he met an old monster like the Black Flame Evil Sovereign, Qin Feng did not believe that Feng Qingyang would appear to save his life. The big spiritual medicine monkey seemed to have seen through Qin Feng's apprehension. It pulled Qin Feng's trousers and pointed at the cave on the cliff. It then shook its head, indicating that there was no danger inside. Qin Feng knew from books that spiritual medicine monkeys were a kind of demonic beast with high intelligence. They were naturally suspicious. However, once they trusted someone, they would not hold anything back. When Qin Feng saved the big spiritual medicine monkey, the little spiritual medicine monkey kept its distance from Qin Feng because it did not trust him. However, after Qin Feng saved the big spiritual medicine monkey from under the huge rock and treated it, he completely won the trust of the two monkeys. After gaining the trust of the spiritual medicine monkey would not harm others. It was because of this that Qin Feng decided to enter the cave to investigate. If there was any danger, he was certain that he would be able to escape. After all, his current strength was 100 times stronger than when he entered the cave on Luotian Peak. Qin Feng said to the big spiritual medicine monkey, "All right, I will enter the cave to investigate." The scorching heat made the five of them feel incomparably hot. Perhaps it was because Mu Hanyu and Mu Sheng cultivated the frost arts, their situation was slightly better. However, Qin Feng and the other two were sweating all over. Their clothes were completely soaked as if they had just been fished out of the water. However, under the pressure of the star power and the high temperature, the five of them also benefited greatly. The star power in their bodies was compressed by the pressure of the star power and gradually solidified. The five of them walked slowly in the tunnel without speaking. They circulated their powers to resist the pressure of the star power and the high temperature. It was not that they did not want to speak, but the five of them had exhausted all their strength just by walking. They did not have any extra energy to speak. Every 50 meters in the tunnel, there was a huge luminous pearl for illumination. This kind of luminous pearl was extremely expensive in the outside world. It could be seen that the Mu clan had paid a huge price for this star power room. The faint light of the luminous pearl shone on the slightly childish faces of the five of them. The five of them looked determined. As the five most outstanding people in the younger generation of the Mu clan, they were not ordinary people. The reason why they could achieve so much was not only because of their outstanding talent and the elixirs and star techniques provided by the clan, but also because the five of them were determined people who could endure the boredom, loneliness, and tiredness of cultivation. After walking for nearly 4 hours, the five of them finally arrived at the end of the tunnel. The five of them suddenly felt enlightened. What appeared in front of them was a pentagonal square, and there was a star power cultivation room in each corner. There was a huge stone pillar in the middle of the square. Several huge luminous pearls were inlaid at the top of the stone pillar, illuminating the square as if it was daytime. The duel between Qin Feng and Hong Sheng attracted a lot of attention. However, there was another duel that was equally eye-catching. It was the duel between Zheng Jian and Mu Kuan. Zheng Jian and Mu Kuan were rather famous among the younger generation of the Soaring Dragon City. Their strength was not to be underestimated. Mu Hanyu, who was on the VIP stand, stared at Zheng Jian's figure, and her face gradually became solemn. She discovered that Zheng Jian's strength had also improved a lot during this period of time. He had already surpassed the ordinary peak of the second stage and reached the half-step to form creation realm. He could advance to the third stage at any time. As the top person of the younger generation of the Mu clan, Mu Hanyu was under a lot of pressure this time. When facing an expert like Zheng Jian, although she had reached the peak of the second stage, she still didn't have the confidence to win. In the duel between Zheng Jian and Mu Kuan was obviously at a disadvantage. If there were no special changes, it was only a matter of time before he was defeated. Qin Feng, it seems that I have still underestimated you. However, you won't be so lucky next time, Hong Sheng said fiercely. Qin Feng glanced at Hong Sheng. Hearing these familiar and boring words, he snorted and said, "You talk too much nonsense." These words completely ignited Hong Sheng's anger. His figure moved and he charged toward Qin Feng. Mountain-shattering palm, palm-shattering mountains and rivers. Abnormally powerful star energy surged out. Numerous sharp star energy palm images tore through the air and suddenly smashed towards Qin Feng below. Sonic booms resounded continuously. Qin Feng faced Hong Sheng, whose attacks were getting fiercer and fiercer, but there was no fear on his face. The overbearing and fierce scorching sun tyrant Xian whizzed out from his body. Scorching flame fist, torrential flames. Suddenly the temperature of the entire arena rose by quite a bit. Countless fiery fist shadows with the power of stars enveloped Hong Sheng with scorching heat. On the stage the two figures were exchanging blows. Palm winds and fist shadows intertwined with each other. Vigorous star power fluctuations spread out in all directions, causing the crowd's expression to change slightly. However, the crowd soon discovered that Hong Sheng and Qin Feng were evenly matched in the beginning. However, as the battle dragged on, Qin Feng had a slight advantage. Indeed, Qin Feng, who possessed the scorching sun tyrant Xian art, had an incomparable advantage in terms of star power and recovery speed. Chapter 322. I have nothing to do, so I decided to take a look. Qing, you are also here to read. Qin Feng laughed hollowly. However, he was on high alert in his heart. Previously she gave him a void stone for no reason. If it wasn't for Zheng Jian's appearance, he didn't know what kind of method she would use to deal with him. What's so good about the books here? Why aren't you making the best use of your time to cultivate? Why are you reading these casual books? In a few days you will be going out to gain experience. Mu Hanqing curled her lips. Actually, these books look quite interesting. Qin Feng said with a smile. Oh. Mu Hanqing took the book and flipped through it. She wasn't interested in it and threw the book back to Qin Feng. I think you should make the best use of your time to cultivate. In half a year, it will be the Soaring Dragon City's Young Elites competition. Don't let that Zheng Jian become the champion again. I heard that he will soon advance to the Great Circle of Second Order Peak. When Mu Hanqing mentioned Zheng Jian, she felt disgusted. Although Zheng Jian's reputation wasn't good, his cultivation was the #1 in the younger generation of Soaring Dragon City. In the previous Young Elites competition, he defeated Mu Hanyu and became the champion. His name shook the entire Soaring Dragon City. It's useless to tell me this. I'm so weak. I am far inferior compared to Big Sister Hanyu. There are plenty of people in the clan who are stronger than me. Qin Feng shook his head. He didn't have the confidence to defeat Zheng Jian. Why are you so unambitious? Isn't there still half a year? This young lady thinks highly of you. Mu Hanqing smiled craftily and patted Qin Feng's shoulder. Her pair of big eyes flickered and she had a harmless appearance. Qin Feng suddenly felt the gazes from the surrounding people. Many of them were hot-blooded youths who viewed Mu Hanqing as a goddess. Only then did he realize that this little lass was pulling hatred towards him. Qin Feng smiled bitterly. He looked at Mu Hanqing, who was pretending to be innocent, and said helplessly, "All right, I will do my best to cultivate and defeat that Zheng Jian in the Young Elites competition." That's right. Mu Hanqing said with satisfaction. Behind a bookshelf not far away, a pair of eyes stared at Qin Feng and cursed, "You dare to snatch Sister Qing from me? If I don't teach you a lesson, I won't be called Mu Cheng." Women, especially beautiful women, was definitely a femme fatale. Qin Feng didn't doubt the authenticity of this sentence. He looked helplessly at the two youths in front of him. After coming out of the library, he wanted to rush back to the courtyard to cultivate. Unexpectedly, he was blocked by two youths. Qin Feng had stayed in Mu clan for a long time, and he recognized the two teenagers in front of him. Mu Kuan, 18 years old, Second Order Peak Stage initial success. He lost to Mu Hanyu in one move in the family competition 2 years ago. Mu Qing, 18 years old, Second Order Peak, 3rd place in the family competition 2 years ago. Besides Mu Hanyu, these two people were also the two most powerful people among the younger generation of the Mu clan. However, Qin Feng didn't know that the two of them were trying to stop him. It wasn't until Mu Qing warned him to stay away from Mu Hanyu and Mu Hanqing that he realized that he had been shot while lying down. However, Qin Feng recalled that during this period of time, he had walked a little closer to the two girls, but it was far from reaching the level of intimacy. Mu Kuan had strong feelings for Mu Hanyu, and Mu Qing had strong feelings for Mu Hanqing. Therefore, the two of them reached a consensus and decided to join hands to teach Qin Feng a lesson. Qin Feng didn't have any thoughts about Mu Hanyu and Mu Hanqing. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he thought about the trouble these jealous people would bring him. Although he didn't want to cause trouble, he wasn't afraid of it. Cousins, don't say that I don't have any thoughts about Sister Hanyu and Sister Hanqing. Even if I did, you have no right to interfere, right? Qin Feng said coldly. He was disgusted with this kind of behavior, so his words weren't polite at all. Qin Feng, don't think that your tail is up in the sky just because you won the family competition. It's easy for me to deal with you. When Mu Qing thought about the scene where Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing were chatting happily, anger rose from his heart. Why don't you try? Although Qin Feng wasn't confident in fighting against Mu Qing, who was second-order peak stage, he wasn't afraid at all. Mu Qing was about to step forward and deal with Qin Feng, but he was stopped by Mu Kuan. Mu Kuan smiled and said, Cousin Qin Feng, it's better to be humble. Don't be too harsh with your words. Can't you leave a way out for yourself? Many thanks for Cousin Mu Kuan's guidance. Cousin has learned a lot. However, it doesn't seem appropriate for you to do this. If Sister Hanyu and Sister Hanqing knew about it, they wouldn't like it, right? Qin Feng smiled faintly. What a sharp-tongued fellow. I heard from Mu Li that you're crazy. Looking at you today, you're really crazy. Mu Qing looked at Qin Feng and his knuckles cracked. If it wasn't for Mu Kuan stopping him, he would have rushed up and beat Qin Feng up. Mu Kuan didn't expect that Qin Feng would dare to contradict him like this. He was the oldest among the younger generation of the Mu clan, and his strength was only inferior to Mu Hanyu's. Among the younger generation of the Mu clan, there was no one who didn't respect him. However, this brat in front of him didn't have the slightest bit of courtesy and even mocked him. Cousin Qin Feng is really courageous. However, I don't know if my strength can keep up with this courage. Mu Kuan said with a gloomy face. Why? Both of you want to fight me together? Qin Feng mocked. Mu Lian and Mu Yan couldn't be compared to these two people. If it was a one-on-one fight, he still had a chance of winning. If the two of them joined forces, he definitely wouldn't be able to withstand 3 moves. Do I need Cousin Mu Kuan to deal with you? I alone am enough. Mu Qing was so agitated that he was about to go crazy. If he didn't beat up this brat in front of him today, he wouldn't be able to get rid of the hatred in his heart. However, Mu Kuan stopped him and didn't let him make a move. Cousin Qin Feng, you should go back and cultivate properly. There will be plenty of opportunities to spar in the future. Mu Kuan's gloomy face suddenly relaxed as he said faintly. Then take care of yourself. Qin Feng didn't pay any attention to the two of them after he finished speaking and walked past them. Looking at Qin Feng's back, Mu Qing said, Brother Kuan, why didn't you let me deal with him? Actually, the reason Mu Qing called Mu Kuan over was because he wanted to hold the fort for himself. He was confident that he could take care of Qin Feng alone. After all, the latter was only a starry warrior at the early stage of the Second Order. Compared to himself, he was still far behind. Unexpectedly, Mu Kuan stopped him and he didn't dare to go against Mu Kuan's will. Now that he's the most popular person in the clan, it won't be a problem to deal with him. However, it will definitely cause the elders to scold him. He has 6 palaces and no concubines. The qualifiers for the young hero competition will be in 2 months. At that time, we'll deal with him ruthlessly. Mu Kuan narrowed his eyes as he looked at Qin Feng's back and said softly, I just got a bottle of good wine. Do you want to taste it? Xieshur had already reached the transcendent realm. He already had a strong resistance to hunger and thirst. With the help of the energy of heaven and earth, he could even go a long time without eating or drinking. However, he was extremely fond of good wine. He had collected all kinds of good wine in his residence. Okay, it's settled then. Mu Huaiji turned his head and said to Mu Qingda, Qingda, bring Qing and the others back first. I'll catch up with Grandmaster Xia. Yes. Mu Qingda said respectfully. Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing also followed Mu Qingda and the others back to the Mu residence. However, before they left, Xieshur's gaze paused on Qin Feng for a moment. After returning to the Mu residence, Qin Feng bade farewell to Mu Qingda, Mu Hanqing and the others. He quickly returned to his courtyard and closed the door. Then, with a thought, he took out 2 metal tokens from the void stone and quietly laid on his palm. When Mu Hanqing obtained the ancient era's metal plate from the auction house, she immediately gave it to Qin Feng. However, what surprised Qin Feng was that the rune in his palm didn't have any reaction. However, he still keenly felt that there was a faint connection between the rune and the 2 metal tokens. If it wasn't for his extraordinary perception, he might not have been able to feel it. Qin Feng looked at the 2 metal tokens and revealed a pondering expression. The rune in his palm was too mysterious. These 2 metal tokens were also items from the ancient era. He didn't know what was the connection between the two. However, he was certain that the origin of these 2 metal tokens was definitely not ordinary. At this moment, an idea popped up in Qin Feng's mind. Let's test it with fire. He didn't dare to use the spirit-devouring demonic flame. This kind of strange flame had an extremely high temperature. If it burned the metal tokens into nothingness, he wouldn't be able to cry even if he wanted to. Qin Feng lit an oil lamp and fiddled with the wick. After raising the flame, he placed one of the metal tokens on the flame and started to roast it. However, Qin Feng's idea didn't seem to be very clever. After a long time, the metal token didn't have any reaction. Looking at the metal token that didn't have any reaction, Qin Feng gritted his teeth and summoned the spirit-devouring demonic flame. Under the control of Qin Feng's thoughts, the spirit-devouring demonic flame separated into a small flame. Although this flame was extremely small, its temperature was far from an ordinary flame. However, what surprised him was that the iron plate did not have the slightest reaction under the burning of the flame. Qin Feng separated another flame and it was still the same. Then he separated another flame and the metal token was still the same. In the end, he helplessly found that even if he put the entire metal token into the spirit-devouring demonic flame, there was still no change, not even the slightest change. Qin Feng withdrew the spirit-devouring demonic flame and held the two metal tokens again. His eyes were filled with deep shock. The spirit-devouring demonic flame was a strange flame of heaven and earth. Even if it was a third stage or a transcendent expert, they wouldn't dare to use their body to resist it. As long as other things touched it, they would be burned into nothingness. However, these two metal tokens didn't have any reaction under the roasting of the spirit-devouring demonic flame. Qin Feng put the metal tokens into the void stone and shook his somewhat swollen head. He didn't want to think about this matter anymore. He believed that there would definitely be a chance to solve this mystery in the future. In the following days, Qin Feng resumed his normal cultivation. However, he didn't put his mind on his own cultivation. Instead, he focused on the cultivation of the profound spirit copper body technique and the blazing sun tyrannical technique. In the Mu family's courtyard, it was elegant and quiet. A young man's figure was sitting cross-legged on a huge rock that was as tall as a person. He didn't move at all, as if he was one with the rock. Around him, the power of the stars between heaven and earth was surging like water. Finally, following the suction force emitted by the young man's figure, it drilled into his body. The young man's delicate and pretty face looked clean and comfortable under the faint sunlight. His whole body was emitting a domineering and fierce aura. It was hard to imagine that this thin body actually had such a feeling of power. This kind of cultivation lasted for a full 4 hours. The figure's tightly closed eyes slowly opened. This young man was Qin Feng, who was cultivating diligently. Qin Feng jumped down from the rock and stood facing it. He took a deep breath and his whole body emitted a faint bronze luster. Under the bronze luster, a sense of power was quietly emitted. Qin Feng clenched his right hand into a fist. He didn't use the power of the stars at all. Then, without any fancy moves, he punched the rock. Bang! The rock in front of Qin Feng didn't have the slightest change in the beginning. But after a long while, a crack suddenly appeared at the point where the fist landed. Following the appearance of the crack, more and more cracks spread out like a spider web on the rock. Boom! As the number of cracks increased, the rock seemed to be unable to bear it anymore and shattered into a pile of small rocks. The bronze luster on Qin Feng's body also slowly dissipated. His face revealed a trace of excitement. These days, Qin Feng had been painstakingly cultivating the profound spirit bronze body technique and the results were pretty good. He had already reached the 6th layer. The effect of that punch made him extremely satisfied. However, although the profound spirit bronze body technique had reached the 6th layer, the 6th meridian of the blazing sun tyrant technique gave him a headache. He spent a lot of effort and only managed to open half of it. The 19 meridians of the blazing sun tyrant technique were harder to open as one progressed. When the power of the stars in his body attacked the blockage in the 6th meridian, it was like dripping water penetrating a stone. It took him a total of 20 days to open half of the meridian. Although he didn't practice his own cultivation, Qin Feng felt that his cultivation had improved. Although the improvement wasn't very big, the feeling of a breakthrough was getting stronger and stronger. The second level of the lower level of the middle stage was close at hand. Qin Feng was very familiar with the blazing sun fist. Coupled with the blazing sun tyrant technique, its power was somewhat beyond his expectations. While Qin Feng was concentrating on his cultivation, the Mu clan's selection competition also arrived as scheduled. This selection competition also attracted the attention of the entire clan. A vast sea of people gathered at the martial arts field. That scene made people's blood boil. The scale of this selection competition was much larger than the coming-of-age ceremony. After all, the coming-of-age ceremony was only for boys and girls around the age of 16. This selection competition was aimed at the entire younger generation of the Mu clan, On the high platform of the martial arts field, the upper echelons of the Mu clan were seated. Other than the patriarch Mu Qianlang and the inner pavilion elder Mu Ziwu, all the upper echelons of the Mu clan were present. Mu Huaiji, who didn't appear during the coming-of-age ceremony, was sitting in the middle of the high platform. He was chatting with Mu Yuntang and Mu Chuandao. The major forces of Soaring Dragon City weren't invited to watch the selection competition this time. After all, it was important to conceal one's strength. Qin Feng, who was at the scene, was shocked by the sea of people. He didn't expect the clan to place such importance on this selection. Qin Feng, how are your preparations? It seems that you have been training very hard during this period of time. Mu Hanqing patted Qin Feng's shoulder from behind. The sunlight shone on her charming cheeks, making her look incomparably delicate and charming. It's okay. How about you? Qin Feng laughed hollowly. He didn't know why, but every time he met Mu Hanqing he would feel awkward. On the contrary, Mu Hanqing seemed to have let go of the knot in her heart and was able to face Qin Feng calmly. Chapter 323. Mu Hanqing also noticed that Qin Feng's gaze had lingered on her chest for a while. She recalled the scene at the Sunset Mountain Range and her face couldn't help but turn red. She reprimanded, "Watch your eyes. Be careful or I'll dig them out for you." Qin Feng felt a little awkward after being reprimanded by Mu Hanqing. He said, "Hanqing, why are you looking for me? Don't tell me you're here to dig out my eyes?" He muttered in his heart, "Humph, I've already seen you naked. Can't I just take a look?" However, he didn't dare to say these words out loud. "Can't I look for you if there's nothing important? Are you going to the auction tomorrow?" Mu Hanqing curled her lips and said, "Auction?" Qin Feng was stunned for a moment and asked, "It's the auction organized by the Hidden Treasure Pavilion. It's the largest auction in the Tianfeng County in the past 10 years. I heard that Grandmaster Xie will be there personally." Mu Hanqing rolled her eyes at Qin Feng. He didn't even know about such a big event. She really didn't know what he was doing all day. He was just like an idiot. After Mu Hanqing explained for a long time, Qin Feng finally understood the whole story. The Mu clan had 3 inner sect elders. Mu Ziwu was always in seclusion in the library and didn't care about worldly affairs. Mu Yuntang and Mu Chuandao were in charge of the Mu clan's daily affairs. Elder Mu Huaiji was in charge of the clan's business and was in charge of the clan's finances. Tomorrow's auction was organized by the Hidden Treasure Pavilion in name. However, it was actually organized by the Mu clan and the person in charge was Elder Mu Huaiji. Originally, the younger generation of the Mu clan wouldn't be allowed to participate in this kind of auction. However, Mu Hanqing was Mu Huaiji's granddaughter. She was the apple of Mu Huaiji's eye. In addition, she used many trump cards such as acting spoiled. Finally, the old man agreed to let her go to the auction tomorrow to broaden her horizons. However, Mu Hanyu went into seclusion the moment she came back. She couldn't accompany Mu Hanqing to the auction tomorrow. After thinking about it, she finally thought of Qin Feng and came to find him. Qin Feng also wanted to go to the auction to broaden his horizons. Thus he agreed. "All right, then it's settled. I'll see you tomorrow." Mu Hanqing saw Qin Feng nodding his head and left excitedly. "Why is she treating me so well? Could it be that she has feelings for me? That's impossible." Qin Feng looked at Mu Hanqing's departing figure and shook his head, denying the thought in his heart. The next day, Qin Feng was so engrossed in his cultivation that he almost forgot about the auction. By the time he reacted, it was already a little late. He hurriedly washed up and left the courtyard to meet up with Mu Hanqing. When he arrived at the rendezvous point, he saw Mu Hanqing alone. "Just the 2 of us?" Qin Feng found it strange. "How is that possible?" Mu Hanqing rolled her eyes at Qin Feng. This fella, every time he asked a question it was always so idiotic. "Uncle Da and the others left first. Why are you so late? Let's hurry over or we won't make it in time." The Uncle Da that Mu Hanqing was talking about was Mu Qingda. He was Elder Mu Huaiji's right-hand man. The 2 of them sprinted all the way and finally caught up with Mu Qingda's group in front of the auction house. "Uncle Da." Qin Feng greeted Mu Qingda. Mu Qingda was about 40 years old, slightly younger than Qin Haoyuan, but he was already a powerhouse at the peak of the Third Order. He was sent by Mu Huaiji to participate in this auction. "You guys are finally here. Let's go in." Mu Qingda nodded towards Qin Feng and said with a smile. Qin Feng raised his head to look at the auction house and exclaimed in surprise. In order to help Grandmaster Xie organize this auction, the Mu clan had spent a lot of effort to rebuild a huge auction house. Majestic and imposing, it was extremely appropriate to describe the aura of the auction house. This huge auction house could hold up to 100,000 people. In the entire Tianfeng province, such an auction house was rarely seen. At the entrance of the auction house, a dense stream of people rushed in like a tide. The popularity of the auction house was so explosive that it made people gasp in surprise. Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing followed Mu Qingde and the others through the VIP passage to avoid the pain of being squeezed. After entering the auction house, Qin Feng realized that the auction house's main hall was already packed with people. Although each person had to pay 1,000 cultivation coins to enter the auction house, it didn't seem to be able to stop the flow of people. However, the auction house had specially set up VIP seats for those major forces. The best VIP seats were also reserved for the Mu clan. Therefore, Qin Feng and the others didn't have to fight for a seat with the crowd in the main hall. It's good to have money and power. Qin Feng sat on a comfortable chair and leisurely drank tea. Looking at the chaotic crowd in the main hall, he sighed with emotion. In the VIP seats, Qin Feng also saw some familiar figures. Among them, Zheng Jian and Song Ping, who he met yesterday, were among them. The two of them also noticed Qin Feng and their eyes flashed with a trace of unfriendly coldness. However, Qin Feng didn't care. It was fine if the two of them didn't provoke him. If they did, he would definitely not let them have a good time. This auction was organized by Grandmaster Xie Shi, so there was no need to doubt its fairness. This was because everyone knew that Xie Shi was focused on refining tools and didn't participate in any fights. He was impartial and maintained a good relationship with the four major forces. In fact, Xie Shi had another identity. He was the Soul Master Alliance's Tianfeng Province Branch Alliance Master. The Soul Masters of the Flame Dragon Dynasty formed a Soul Master Alliance. Xie Shi was the Soul Master Alliance's Branch Alliance Master and was in charge of the Tianfeng Province's affairs. Although this Soul Master Alliance usually kept a low profile, its strength couldn't be underestimated. Even the Flame Dragon Dynasty's Huangwu clan didn't dare to easily offend them. Xie Shi's strength was not weak. Coupled with his fame, the four major forces of the Tianfeng province respected him. Although the Mu clan sponsored this auction, they didn't get any favoritism from Grandmaster Xie. Although the Mu clan coveted some of the items in this auction, Grandmaster Xie still didn't withhold them and privately trade them with the Mu clan. It seemed that the auction would take a while before it started. Qin Feng also carefully looked at the people in the VIP seats. On the right of the VIP seats, there was a group of people wearing white robes embroidered with wind and white clouds. This was the symbol of Tianfeng Province's #1 sect, the Wind Cloud sect. The people of Bright Moon Hall and Wind Cloud sect sat together. On the left of the VIP seats, there was a group of people wearing black robes embroidered with a golden tiger roaring towards the sky. This was the symbol of the Lei clan. On the left of the VIP seats, there was the Lu clan in blue robes. Behind them, there were some second-rate forces and sects in the Tianfeng province. The Green Wolf Gang and the Seven Stars Martial Dojo were among them. As one of the three major forces in Soaring Dragon City, they didn't seem that eye-catching. Qin Feng didn't notice any celestial stage experts in the VIP seats. However, this was normal. The people sent by the four major forces were led by celestial stage experts, but they rarely showed up. Before the auction items would be released to some extent. Therefore, these forces were already prepared for the auction. Therefore, the presence of celestial stage experts didn't affect the auction. Because the auction wouldn't start for a while, the people in the VIP seats started to chat with each other. Many leaders of the second-rate forces also came to greet Mu Qingde. Mu Qingde also started to chat with them. Looking at Mu Qingde's familiar appearance, it was likely that this wasn't the first time he encountered such a situation. However, the four major forces of the Tianfeng province were clearly separated. They didn't interact or talk with each other. This was also because the slightest movement of the four major forces would cause a huge uproar in the Tianfeng province. Therefore, in public, the four major forces only interacted with each other out of courtesy. However, these second-rate forces had to rely on the four major forces to survive. Therefore, they often used this opportunity to build a good relationship with the four major forces. If they couldn't, they would at least build a good relationship with one of the four major forces. In the Tianfeng province, if a second-rate force didn't have the support of a major force, it would definitely be destroyed. This had been proven countless times. Everyone clearly remembered that there was once a sect in the Tianfeng province. The founder was a celestial stage expert. This expert's goal in establishing the sect was to become the fifth major force in the Tianfeng province. In the end, the sect only existed for 3 months before it was destroyed by the four major forces. The celestial stage expert's fate was also very tragic. Clang. Nearly an hour later, along with a clear knocking sound, a middle-aged man appeared on the auction stage, and the entire auction house finally quieted down. Qin Feng recognized the middle-aged man. He was one of the stewards of the Hidden Treasure Pavilion, Yao Li. Yao Li smiled and said, "Today the Hidden Treasure Pavilion is holding an auction. Thank you for coming." Yao Li represents the Hidden Treasure Pavilion to thank everyone. As usual, it was a necessary opening speech. Although everyone had heard similar words before, they didn't reveal a trace of impatience. The auction will now officially begin. After Yao Li finished his tedious opening speech, he clapped his hands. Immediately, several beautiful maids carrying silver plates walked up to the auction stage from the backstage. Yao Li received the silver plate from the first maid and removed the cloth on it. He placed it on the auction table and a metal plate instantly appeared in front of everyone. "Everyone, this is the first item of today's auction, the ancient metal plate." The metal plate was less than the size of a palm and was covered in rust. On the front of the metal plate, there were complicated runes that Qin Feng was extremely familiar with. When the metal plate appeared, Qin Feng could clearly feel a trace of heat emitting from the runes on his palm. "Is this?" Qin Feng was shocked. He swept a glance at the metal plate that was quietly lying on the void stone. He didn't expect that there would be another metal plate that was extremely similar to the one in his hand. "What's the use of this thing?" Someone in the auction house shouted. "This we don't know." Yao Li laughed dryly and was a little embarrassed. Waves of boos came from the auction house. They didn't expect that the first item of such a large-scale auction would be a metal plate that even the auctioneer didn't know what it was. "Everyone listen to me. This metal plate has been appraised by Grandmaster Xie. It belongs to the ancient era and has existed for a very long time. Although we don't know the exact use of it, it should be extraordinary. The starting price is 150,000 cultivation coins and each increment must not be less than 10,000 cultivation coins," Yao Li hurriedly said. In the crowd, Mu Qing looked at Qin Feng with a trace of jealousy in his eyes. If it wasn't for Qin Feng, he would be the one to enter the Force of Stars room to cultivate. There are still 3 days before the Young Heroes competition. You can rest for the next 3 days, Mu Chuandao said with a smile. Mu Chuandao said a few words to the 5 of them and left. The surrounding young men and women were like sparrows as they started to discuss. Mu Hanqing came in front of Mu Hanyu and Qin Feng with a trace of envy on her face. She had a strong self-esteem. Although she couldn't enter the Force of Stars room to cultivate, she didn't slack off during this period of time. Although her strength was still at the peak of the mid-second order, her aura was obviously stronger. "Sister Hanyu, you will soon become a third-order expert," Mu Hanqing said with a smile. "You have also improved." Mu Hanyu also smiled. "Qin Feng, why didn't you advance? You must have been lazy in your cultivation." Mu Hanqing looked at Qin Feng and ridiculed. Qin Feng smiled faintly and declined to comment. After chatting with Mu Hanyu and Mu Hanqing for a while, Qin Feng bade them farewell and returned to the courtyard. Of course, the 2 beautiful young ladies had successfully attracted a lot of hatred for him. However, Qin Feng didn't put it to heart. When Qin Feng returned to the courtyard, he bumped into Qin Haoyuan and his wife who had just returned. "Father, mother." Qin Feng saw the couple and called out happily. Calculating the time, it had been a long time since he last saw his parents. Qin Haoyuan and his wife were also very happy. Li Ruoyue looked at her son who was gradually maturing and her face was filled with a gratified smile. Qin Haoyuan looked at Qin Feng and nodded. He smiled and said, "Not bad, Feng, has already reached the mid-second order small success stage." Qin Feng laughed embarrassedly. He felt that Qin Haoyuan's aura was different from before. "Father, you have already reached the 3rd order?" Qin Haoyuan nodded and said with a smile, "After my injuries healed, my cultivation also improved a little. I just broke through a few days ago. The Young Heroes competition is 3 days later. How are your preparations?" "I will do my best to get a good ranking," Qin Feng said. Although his goal was to become the champion, there were many experts in the Young Heroes competition. He couldn't be too confident. "Just do your best," Li Ruoyue quickly said. She didn't care about Qin Feng's ranking. "It's a pity that father and mother have something to do during the Young Heroes competition and can't be there to cheer for you," Qin Haoyuan said with guilt. "Father, it's okay. I will do my best," Qin Feng said with a smile. Seeing that Qin Feng didn't get angry, Qin Haoyuan and his wife heaved a sigh of relief. The family of 3 happily entered the house. In these 3 days, Qin Feng didn't cultivate. He accompanied Qin Haoyuan and his wife and enjoyed the warmth that family brought to him. After coming to the Star Continent, Qin Feng cherished this warm family the most. 3 days passed by in a flash. The atmosphere of the entire Soaring Dragon City was boiling. The eyes of the entire city were gathered on the big square of Soaring Dragon City. As the grand event held every 2 years in Soaring Dragon City, all the influential figures of various sects and clans were present. In front of the big square, on the main guest stand, these influential figures in the eyes of the common people of Soaring Dragon City were chatting with each other. The scene was extremely lively. For the sake of benefits, the competition between various sects and clans was quite intense. This kind of conversation was just on the surface. Although they were all smiling, everyone knew that it was just to deal with the situation. The Mu clan was the last to arrive. The leader was the inner pavilion elder, Mu Yuntang. The open space in the middle of the main guest stand with the widest field of view was also reserved for the Mu clan. When the people of the Mu clan arrived at the main guest stand, the crowd on the stage stood up. However, the people near the center of the main guest stand were clearly divided into 3 groups. The group on the left wore black martial robes. On the chest of the martial robes, 7 golden stars were engraved. They were the people of the 7 Stars Martial School. Chapter 324. Alright, I just got a bottle of good wine. Do you want to have a taste? Xieshir had reached the transcendent realm and had a strong resistance against hunger and thirst. With the help of the energy of heaven and earth, he could even go a long time without eating or drinking. However, he was extremely fond of good wine and had collected all kinds of good wine in his residence. Alright, it's settled then. Mu Huaiji turned his head and said to Mu Qingda, "Qingda, bring Qing'er and the rest back first. I will catch up with Grandmaster Xia." "Yes," Mu Qingda said respectfully. Qin Feng and Mu Hanqing also followed Mu Qingda and the rest back to the Mu residence. However, before leaving, Xieshir's gaze paused on Qin Feng for a moment. After returning to Mu clan, Qin Feng bade farewell to Mu Qingda, Mu Hanqing and the others. He quickly returned to his courtyard and closed the door. Then, with a thought, he took out 2 metal plates from the void stone and laid them quietly in his palm. When Mu Hanqing obtained the ancient era's metal plate from the auction house, she immediately gave it to Qin Feng. However, what surprised Qin Feng was that the rune in his palm did not have any reaction. However, he was still able to sense a faint connection between the rune and the 2 iron tokens. If not for his extraordinary perception, he might not have been able to sense it. Qin Feng looked at the 2 iron tokens and revealed a pondering expression. The rune in his palm was too mysterious. These 2 iron tokens were from the ancient era and he did not know what was the connection between the two. However, he was certain that the origin of these 2 iron tokens was definitely not ordinary. At this moment, an idea appeared in Qin Feng's mind. Let's test it with fire. He did not dare to use the spirit-devouring demonic flame. This kind of heaven and earth strange flame had an extremely high temperature. If the iron tokens were burned into nothingness, he would not be able to cry even if he wanted to. Qin Feng lit an oil lamp and fiddled with the wick. After raising the flame, he placed one of the iron tokens on the flame and roasted it. However, Qin Feng's idea did not seem to be very clever. After a long time, the iron token did not have any reaction. Looking at the iron token that did not have any reaction, Qin Feng gritted his teeth and summoned the spirit-devouring demonic flame. Under the control of Qin Feng's thoughts, the spirit-devouring demonic flame split into a small flame. Although this flame was extremely small, its temperature was far higher than ordinary flames. However, what surprised him was that the iron plate did not react in the slightest under the burning of the flame. Qin Feng took out another strand of flame and it was still the same. He took out another strand of flame and the iron tile was still the same. In the end, he helplessly discovered that even if he threw the iron tile into the spirit-swallowing devil flame, there was still no change, not even the slightest change. Qin Feng put away the spirit-swallowing devil flame and held the 2 iron tablets again. His eyes were filled with deep shock. The spirit-devouring demonic flame was a unique flame that even celestial realm experts wouldn't dare to take on head-on with their bodies. Anything that came into contact with the spirit-devouring demonic flame would be reduced to nothingness. However, the 2 metal plates did not react in the slightest when they were being roasted by the spirit-swallowing devil flames. Qin Feng put the iron token into the void stone. He shook his head, which was a little swollen from thinking about it, and stopped thinking about it. He believed that there would be a chance to solve this mystery in the future. In the following days, Qin Feng resumed his normal cultivation. However, he did not put his mind on his own cultivation. Instead, he focused on the cultivation of the profound spirit copper body technique and the blazing sun tyrannical technique. In the Mu family's courtyard, it was elegant and quiet. A young man's figure was sitting cross-legged on a huge rock that was as tall as a person. He was motionless as if he had merged with the rock. Around him, the power of the stars between heaven and earth was surging like water. In the end, it followed the suction force emitted by the young man's figure and drilled into his body. The young man's delicate face looked clean and comfortable under the faint sunlight. His whole body was emitting a domineering and fierce aura. It was hard to imagine that this thin body actually had such a feeling of power. This kind of cultivation lasted for a full 4 hours. The figure's tightly closed eyes slowly opened. This young man was Qin Feng, who was cultivating diligently. Qin Feng jumped down from the huge rock and stood facing it. He took a deep breath and his skin emitted a faint bronze luster. Under the bronze luster, a feeling of power quietly emitted. Qin Feng clenched his right hand into a fist. He did not use the power of the stars at all. Then, without any fancy moves, he punched the rock. Bang! The huge rock in front of Qin Feng didn't have any changes in the beginning. But after a long while, a crack suddenly appeared at the point where the fist landed. Following the appearance of the crack, more and more cracks spread out like a spider web on the huge rock. Boom! As the number of cracks increased, the huge rock seemed to be unable to bear it anymore and shattered into a pile of small rocks. The bronze luster on Qin Feng's body also slowly dissipated. His face revealed a trace of excitement. These days, Qin Feng had been painstakingly cultivating the profound spirit bronze body technique and the results were pretty good. He had already reached the 6th layer. The effect of that punch made him extremely satisfied. However, although the profound spirit bronze body technique had reached the 6th layer, the 6th meridian of the blazing sun tyrant technique gave him a headache. He spent a lot of effort and only managed to open half of it. The 19 meridians of the blazing sun tyrant technique were harder to open as one progressed. When the power of the stars in his body attacked the blockage in the 6th meridian, it was like dripping water penetrating a stone. It took him a total of 20 days to open half of the meridian. Although he did not practice his own cultivation, Qin Feng felt that his cultivation had improved. Although the improvement was not very big, the feeling of a breakthrough was getting stronger and stronger. The second level of the lower level of the middle stage was close at hand. As for the blazing sun fist, Qin Feng was very familiar with it. The power of the blazing sun tyrant technique was beyond his expectations. While Qin Feng was concentrating on his cultivation, the Mu clan's selection was also on schedule. This selection competition also attracted the attention of the entire clan. A vast sea of people gathered at the martial arts field. That scene made one's blood boil. The scale of this selection was much larger than the coming-of-age ceremony. After all, the coming-of-age ceremony was only for 16-year-old boys and girls. This selection was aimed at the entire younger generation of the Mu clan. On the high platform of the martial arts field, all the upper echelons of the clan were seated. Other than Patriarch Mu Qianlang and Inner Pavilion Elder Mu Ziwu, all the upper echelons of the Mu clan were present. Mu Huaiji, who did not appear in the coming-of-age ceremony, was sitting in the middle of the high platform. He was chatting with Mu Yuntang and Mu Chuandao. The major forces of Soaring Dragon City were not invited to watch this selection. After all, it was important to conceal one's strength. Qin Feng, who was at the scene, was shocked by the sea of people. He didn't expect the clan to place such importance on this selection. Qin Feng, how are your preparations? It seems that you have been training very hard. Mu Hanqing patted Qin Feng's shoulder from behind. The sunlight shone on her charming face, making her look incomparably delicate and charming. It's okay. How about you? Qin Feng laughed hollowly. He did not know why, but every time he met Mu Hanqing he would feel awkward. On the contrary, Mu Hanqing seemed to have let go of the knot in her heart and was able to face Qin Feng calmly. On the 3rd day of the Young Heroes competition, Mu Hanyu vs Zheng Jian and Qin Feng vs Song Ping. The curtains of these two exciting matches began under everyone's anticipation. Because there were only 2 matches today and they should be very exciting, the 4 competition stages were removed and an even bigger competition stage was built in the middle of the plaza. The final 4 people represented the peak level of Soaring Dragon City's younger generation. Among them, Mu Hanyu and Song Ping were at the peak of second-order peak. As for Zheng Jian, he was at the half-step creation realm. However, the most eye-catching one was Qin Feng. He was a dark horse and entered the top 4. His strength was merely at the mid-second order small perfection realm. The first match was the final match that everyone thought would be brought forward. Mu Hanyu vs Zheng Jian. Standing on the competition stage, a trace of a smile appeared on Zheng Jian's handsome face. He faintly smiled and said, "Sister Yu, we meet again. I have missed you during this period of time." Mu Hanyu coldly said, "Young Master Zheng, please conduct yourself with dignity." The ice-cold expression on her face became even more intense. Zheng Jian still had a smile on his face as he said, "Sister Yu, I believe that you also know my feelings for you." "Shut up." Mu Hanyu reprimanded and sent a palm strike over. "Not good, Sister Hanyu has been schemed against." Qin Feng said inwardly when he saw this scene from the VIP stand. When two Stardust warriors were fighting, especially experts with similar strength, one's state of mind must be calm. However, Zheng Jian had disturbed Mu Hanyu's state of mind first. It could be said that he had taken the initiative. This person is so treacherous. I have to be on guard against him in the future. Qin Feng said inwardly. Shameless fellow. Mu Hanqing angrily said from the side with a look of disdain on her beautiful face. Mu Hanyu's sparkling and translucent jade-like hands emitted a white radiance. The white radiance became brighter and brighter, and there were actually some crystal-like objects in her hands. The ice-cold star energy caused the temperature of the stage to drop significantly. A swift and fierce palm wind enveloped Zheng Jian's body. Facing the swift and fierce attack, Zheng Jian retracted the smile on his face and a solemn expression appeared on his face. His fair hands danced and the star energy within his body was completely released. Facing an expert like Mu Hanyu, he dared not be careless. Although he had defeated Mu Hanyu in the previous Young Heroes competition, it was only by a small margin. Now that Mu Hanyu's cultivation level had reached the peak of the second order, it was very likely that he would be defeated if he did not treat her with caution. The two figures were like colorful butterflies among flowers. The man was handsome and elegant while the woman was beautiful. Those who did not know would think that they were a pair of immortal couples sparring. Zheng Jian was also using a profound rank inferior quality star technique, Miraculous Shadow Light Palm. This set of palm techniques was extremely profound. Although it looked ordinary and mediocre, it could inadvertently unleash one killing move after another. Mu Hanyu was only at the peak of the second order, while Zheng Jian was half a step into the third order. There was still a certain difference in strength between the two of them, and the difference was evident soon after the two of them exchanged blows. The difference in level could not be made up for with willpower and perseverance alone. If one did not have some special means and trump cards, it would be almost impossible to challenge someone of a higher level. If Qin Feng had not met Feng Qingyang and did not have the Flaming Sun tyrannical technique, Spirit-devouring demonic flames, Flaming Fist, and Shenling Copper Body technique, he would not have been able to emerge as a dark horse among the young geniuses. Frost technique, Iceberg Crush. Mu Hanyu hollered softly, after which a slightly thin iceberg of star power gradually formed in front of her. Due to the fact that she had reached the peak of the second order, she also possessed a trace of the power of the third order. Although it was relatively weak, the power was greatly increased because of it. With a thought, Mu Hanyu smashed the ice mountain made of star energy towards Zheng Jianfei. The power of the blow was extraordinary, and if Zheng Jian was hit, he would definitely be seriously injured. Zheng Jian also realized this point and the majestic star power surged out. As he waved his hands, they quickly formed a star power barrier in front of him. After the Star Force iceberg smashed through dozens of Star Force barriers like a hot knife through butter, it slowed down a little before finally exploding in front of Zheng Jian. Seeing that their attack did not cause any substantial damage to Zheng Jian, the clansmen of the Mu clan sighed in pity. Mu Yuntang and Mu Chuandao shook their heads and sighed softly. With their sharp eyes, they could see that Mu Hanyu's defeat was only a matter of time. It seemed like Zheng Jian was still the number one person among the younger generation of Soaring Dragon City. Zheng Jian heaved a sigh of relief. He had used all of his strength in that attack just now. Sister Yu, if you don't have any other trump cards, then you have lost. After Zheng Jian received Mu Hanyu's attack, a loathsome smile appeared on his face. Mu Hanyu bit her red lips and reprimanded, "The outcome of the battle has not been decided yet. Isn't it too early to say such words?" Zheng Jian smiled and said, "Sister Yu, receive my attack as well." Zheng Jian shouted and his palms immediately formed numerous complicated seals. Dazzling light seals appeared one after another. When these light seals appeared from Zheng Jian's hands, a kind of invisible star power fluctuation was gradually emitted. It contained a kind of dangerous aura. Strange Shadow Light Seal Palm. The light seal gradually formed into an extremely illusory human figure. The aura it emitted was extremely dangerous. Sister Hanyu seems to be unable to defeat him. Mu Hanqing frowned. She, who had always been mischievous, looked worried at this moment. Her pair of beautiful eyes were fixed on Mu Hanyu, who was on the stage. Qin Feng also felt the horror of the illusory figure on the main stage. He did not expect Zheng Jian to be so powerful. If he was in Zheng Jian's place, he would not have the slightest confidence to defeat him. Mu Yuntang's hand that was holding the teacup trembled slightly. If Mu Hanyu lost, the young hero's competition this time would belong to his clan again. The entire clan would lose face again. Mu Hanyu could clearly feel the pressure and danger that the illusory figure gave her. She also poured out all of her star power without holding back. Frost Technique, Ice Mountain Crush. Both of them were extremely talented and were close to rank 3. Hence, they had some understanding of the power of shape creation and could condense some illusory shapes. As a result, the power of their star techniques had also increased greatly. Sister Yu, be careful. Zheng Jian laughed softly. With a wave of his large hand, the star energy illusory figure formed by the light seal charged towards Mu Hanyu. His body was like a bolt of lightning, bringing with it a whistling sound. Mu Hanyu gritted her teeth and injected the last of her star power into the illusory ice mountain in front of her. Then she pointed at the star power illusory figure gently. The illusory star power illusory ice mountain blasted towards the star power illusory figure at an extremely fast speed. Boom! Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, the two fiercely collided with each other, emitting an earth-shattering boom. The eardrums of the spectators in the entire plaza buzzed from the impact. The ground of the entire competition stage was also shaken by the impact. The cracks were like long snakes that extended from the point of impact to the entire competition stage. The two figures were also blasted out by the impact. They retreated more than 10 feet and left two long sliding marks on the ground of the competition stage. If it weren't for the fact that the competition stage had expanded greatly this time, the two of them would have fallen off the stage. Chapter 325. Qin Feng moved forward cautiously, but his journey seemed to be very smooth, so smooth that Qin Feng himself couldn't believe it. The cave wasn't deep and it didn't take Qin Feng long to reach the end. However, when Qin Feng looked at the end of the cave, he suddenly became a little dumbfounded. His eyes were full of shock and his face was full of disbelief. At the end of the cave there was a skeleton sitting cross-legged. The skeleton was emitting a faint green light. According to Qin Feng's estimation, the skeleton had at least 1,000 years of history. However, even after 1,000 years, the skeleton was still emitting a strong pressure. Although this pressure had decreased a lot with the erosion of time, the majesty within it had not changed in the slightest. This should be the place where this powerhouse passed away? Qin Feng guessed in his heart as he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. However, why is there no protection at all in the place where this powerhouse passed away? Qin Feng didn't understand either because he had read in ancient books that the place where powerhouses passed away would be set up with many traps and obstacles in front of them to prevent others from coveting it. However, Qin Feng didn't suffer any attacks along the way, nor did he encounter any traps. However, what made Qin Feng feel even more strange was that the cave was empty all around, and there was nothing left behind. This was also different from what Qin Feng had read in the ancient book. Generally, when powerhouses passed away, they would bury their treasures, cultivation methods, and star techniques along with them. However, there was nothing to be found here. Could it be? Qin Feng took a breath of cold air and a thought popped up in his mind. Could it be that this powerhouse didn't pass away but was imprisoned here? This was too terrifying. Qin Feng's back was instantly drenched in cold sweat. Judging from the pressure emitted by the skeleton, it was at least a transcendent realm expert, or even an existence that surpassed the transcendent realm. In the Yanlong dynasty, divine powerhouses were like gods. Who could imprison such a powerhouse here? No, Qin Feng calmed down and realized that things shouldn't be as he imagined. This was because he realized that there were no seals around the cave or on the skeleton, and there were no traces of damage on the stone walls of the cave. This powerhouse shouldn't be imprisoned here. Qin Feng pondered bitterly for a long time but still couldn't come to a conclusion. In the end he decided to give up. Senior, Junior has no intention to offend you. Please forgive me. Qin Feng came before the skeleton and kowtowed 3 times. Although he didn't know the name of this skeleton expert, nor did he know if he was good or evil when he was alive, but trespassing into the place of another's death was, after all, a sinister thing to do. Although it was unintentional, Qin Feng still kowtowed to him 3 times as an apology. However, after Qin Feng kowtowed 3 times, he discovered that the finger of the skeleton actually moved slightly. This discovery scared him out of his wits. Could it be that this skeleton was still alive? Qin Feng explosively retreated, his eyes filled with wariness as he stared at the skeleton. The astral energy in his body circulated, preventing the skeleton from suddenly attacking. That skeleton did not move, nor did it chase after him. Instead, a white light flashed from the skeleton's skull and rushed into Qin Feng's mind. Qin Feng was shocked, but things weren't as bad as he thought. When the white light rushed into his mind, other than making him feel a little dizzy, it didn't cause any other symptoms. In his mind, a token quietly floated in his mind. On it, the two words "profound spirit" were written. At the same time, 8 words appeared in Qin Feng's mind. Profound Spirit Earth Palace, seeking inheritance. Profound Spirit Earth Palace, seeking inheritance? Qin Feng repeated the words. His brows furrowed, and only after a long time did he relax. According to his guess, the Profound Spirit Earth Palace should be the residence of this expert when he was alive. This expert should have encountered some unforeseen event here and unfortunately fell. However, the inheritance he left behind was in the Profound Spirit Earth Palace. Qin Feng suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He finally knew why he was able to pass through here unimpeded. There were no traps and he wasn't attacked. The reason was because of that skeleton. Fortunately, he kowtowed 3 times to the skeleton. If he showed the slightest intention of harming the skeleton, that skeleton would definitely kill him in an instant. There were no defenses here because that skeleton itself was the biggest defense. A skeleton that still had a trace of an expert's consciousness. Its strength should be at least above the trance realm. When Qin Feng thought of this, his heart thumped. Just now he had almost lost his life. He went back to the skeleton and kowtowed 3 times. Thank you, Senior. Although he didn't know where Tao Xian's Profound Spirit Earth Palace was, this token was obviously a necessary item to receive the inheritance. If he didn't have this token, it would be very difficult to obtain the inheritance of this expert. Qin Feng bid farewell to the skeleton and left the cave. He swam out of the pool again. The little spiritual medicine monkey was still waiting for Qin Feng by the pool. Seeing Qin Feng come out safe and sound, it squeaked and waved its hands. It was very excited. Qin Feng came out of the pool and used the power of the stars to disperse the cold air. He gently patted the little spiritual medicine monkey's head and smiled. Let's go. Bringing the little spiritual medicine monkey out of the cave, Qin Feng saw that the big spiritual medicine monkey was still waiting there. Although the big spiritual medicine monkey's 2 hind legs were injured, it could still walk upside down with its 2 front paws. Moreover, its speed was not slow. When the big spiritual medicine monkey saw Qin Feng and the little spiritual medicine monkey, it squeaked as if it was asking something. The little spiritual medicine monkey also responded. For a moment, the valley became lively. Okay, if there's nothing else, I really have to go. Qin Feng had a hard journey, but his harvest was also very good. Although he didn't know the exact location of that Profound Spirit Earth Palace, Qin Feng could feel that it should be in the Sunset Mountain Range. This Sunset Mountain Range was truly like a huge treasure trove, concealing secrets that no one knew about. Qin Feng faintly felt something, but he couldn't say anything. Seeing that Qin Feng was about to leave, the big spiritual medicine monkey squeaked again with the little spiritual medicine monkey. Then it held the treasured cliff water lotus in its mouth, waved its front paws at Qin Feng and left upside down. The little spiritual medicine monkey ran in front of Qin Feng and signaled him to follow it. What is this little spiritual medicine monkey doing now? After a period of contact, Qin Feng also liked this little spiritual medicine monkey. He muttered a sentence and followed the little spiritual medicine monkey. Qin Feng followed the little spiritual medicine monkey out of the valley. After another round of random turns, they walked for a long distance and arrived at a hidden hillside. Behind a forest on the hillside, the little spiritual medicine monkey signaled Qin Feng to be quiet. Through a gap in the forest, they saw a light yellow grass growing at the southern end of the hillside. That golden grass was about 1 foot tall. At the top of the grass, there seemed to be a golden round spot, like a miniature sun. Cultivation knows no time. The 5 people who were immersed in cultivation already had no clear concept of time. They could only silently endure the loneliness and dryness, and carry on with their endless cultivation. Qin Feng sat cross-legged on the cultivation platform. The surface of his body emitted a layer of faint star energy. The star energy was like small white snakes, slowly and uniformly drilling into his body. Qin Feng's body slightly trembled. Along with this trembling, the sound of stormy waves hitting the shore came out from his body. Along with the sound, A touch of pain appeared on Qin Feng's face. He frowned and bit his lips. Because of the force, a trace of blood flowed out from his lips. Boom. After the sound of a flood breaking through a dam suddenly came out, Qin Feng's expression finally relaxed. The corner of his mouth also raised into an arc. If there was someone else here, they would be able to feel that Qin Feng's aura was much stronger than before. The 9th meridian. Qin Feng slowly opened his eyes. The joy in his heart was overflowing with words. This time, cultivating in the star energy room really benefited a lot. He had already opened the 9th meridian. If it was outside, it would take at least a year to do so. Following the opening of the 9th meridian, half of the star energy in his body had already transformed into the blazing sun Xian. Qin Feng could clearly feel the domineering and fierce power of the blazing sun Xian. Although his cultivation did not break through, he had already reached the peak of the intermediate second order. However, that was also the result of Qin Feng's own suppression. In fact, according to his cultivation level, it was even possible for him to forcefully break through to the peak of the second order, let alone the peak of the second order. Qin Feng felt that it had only been 2 months since his last breakthrough. If he were to forcefully break through, it would easily cause the star energy to be unstable. Hence, he did not pursue advancement blindly. Everything was natural. As long as there was an opportunity to break through, Qin Feng would be able to advance to the peak of the second order at any time. And this opportunity could be a battle, an epiphany, or even a nap. As for his own star techniques, the Shenling Copper Body technique had been cultivated to the 8th level. He was just one step away from being able to cultivate the Shenling Copper Body technique to the highest level. His physical strength and toughness had already reached an incredible level that even Qin Feng himself found unbelievable. Qin Feng even believed that he could withstand the full blow of a star warrior who had reached the peak of the second order just by relying on the toughness of his body. His flame fist had also been cultivated to the highest level and its power had increased greatly. Although his own cultivation level had not been improved, Qin Feng felt that with the flaming sun tyrannical dark star and a few profound grade star techniques, he should have no problem fighting powerhouses who had reached the peak of the second order. While cultivating in the star power room, Qin Feng also had an unexpected gain. After absorbing a large amount of star energy, the spirit-devouring demonic flames in his body had undergone some new changes. Although the volume of the spirit-devouring demonic flames had shrunk by nearly 1/3, its temperature and degree of condensation had greatly increased. However, Qin Feng could sense that the star energy in the star power room was still not enough to cause the spirit-devouring demonic flames to undergo some fundamental changes. In the future, he had to find a place with abundant star energy for the spirit-devouring demonic flames to absorb. He also wanted to know to what extent the rare flames could evolve. Dong. The dull sound of a bell reverberated throughout the entire star power room. It was the signal to stop cultivating in the star power room. Qin Feng walked out of the cultivation room. The previous pressure of the star power had almost disappeared, and the star power in the air had become extremely thin. As the 5 of them cultivated madly, the power of the stars between heaven and earth was completely refined by the 5 of them. Mu Hanyu walked out from another cultivation room. After seeing Qin Feng, the 2 of them smiled faintly. Only now did Qin Feng realize that after the coldness on Mu Hanyu's face disappeared, there was actually a hint of charm. Coupled with her charming face and exquisite figure, she was a goddess that every man yearned for even in their dreams. "How's your cultivation?" While Qin Feng was in a daze, Mu Hanyu had already inadvertently walked to his side. To Mu Hanyu's surprise, although she could feel that Qin Feng's aura had become much stronger, his strength still seemed to be stuck at the intermediate second-order realm. According to her knowledge, a second-order star warrior could basically achieve a breakthrough after cultivating in the star power room for 2 months. Some could even achieve 2 breakthroughs. However, she did not know that most of Qin Feng's energy was used to open the meridians of the flaming sun tyrannical art. He did not focus on cultivating his own cultivation. Qin Feng sensed Mu Hanyu's shock. However, he did not feel any regret because he was unable to advance. This was because he knew that if he was able to open the 19 meridians and master the flaming sun tyrant skill, his cultivation would be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Not bad. Congratulations, Sister Hanyu. Qin Feng smiled. When Mu Hanyu came out, he had already noticed that her cultivation had reached the peak of second-order realm. Qin Feng and Mu Hanyu followed the sound and saw Mu Kuan walking out from the cultivation room. However, when Mu Kuan saw the 2 of them chatting happily, his face turned gloomy. Qin Feng noticed this scene and smiled helplessly. However, what surprised him was that Mu Kuan had also reached the peak of Second Order realm. It seemed like the Star Power Room was really beneficial to the cultivation of Star Warriors. Mu Sheng and Mu Song also walked out from the cultivation room. As expected, the two of them had advanced to the minor completion of Second Order realm. Since everyone is out, let's go. Elder Mu Chuandao is waiting for us outside. Mu Hanqing said. The five of them were reluctant to part with the Astral Force Chamber. However, the star power energy in the star power room was very thin. They could only wait for 2 years before the room would be able to gather the star power energy and be opened again. When the five of them walked out of the passage, the 2 Third Order realm guards were still sitting there like rocks. However, Qin Feng could feel that their aura had become stronger. Guarding this place all year round was beneficial to their cultivation. After all, the power of the stars here was denser than in other places. When the five of them walked out of the door, the sunlight that they had not seen for a long time made them squint their eyes. Mu Chuandao was already waiting at the door with a group of Mu clan's younger generation. Elder Mu, Legend of the Totem. When the five of them saw Mu Chuandao, they bowed to him. Mu Chuandao looked at the five of them and a kind smile appeared on his face. He said amiably, "Not bad. It seems like the five of you have improved a lot in the past 2 months." When the crowd noticed the five of them's aura, their eyes were burning. Some of them were envious and some of them were so jealous that their eyes were slightly red. Cultivating in the Star Power Room for 2 months was equivalent to cultivating outside for a year. Judging from their aura, the five of them had gained a lot in the Star Power Room. Mu Cheng looked at Qin Feng with a trace of jealousy in his eyes. If it wasn't for Qin Feng, he would be the one cultivating in the Star Power Room. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.